was that kid. He's not a kid. He's 27 now. He will be burnt out by 30.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Good evening, this is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I'm Olly, Clink. I'm alongside comedian and Arsenal fan Jacob Hawley tonight. We'll bring you all the latest transfer news over the next few hours. And what a pleasure it's going to be for me as a Newcastle United fan. Just back from holiday, by the way. Sat with a gooner. Big story tonight. Arsenal set to bid 70 million for our captain Bruno Guimaraes. That's great stuff, isn't it? That's great. But could he be the signing that helps bring the Gunners back-to-back titles? And is this Newcastle project in the absolute mud if he goes? Jacob's grinning.
I'm feeling good, mate. Do you know what? It's fun. I feel like I've been on holiday. Just having had that news from Sammy Mockbell at the BBC just before we started doing the show. I feel like I've been on holiday. I feel sunnier. I feel warmer.
Good for you.
Knowing that your captain's coming to the Emirates.
Yeah, talking of that project being in the mud, talking of that, looks like our long-term target, James Trafford, seems to be heading to Leeds United. But does it really mean that Newcastle have missed out on another target? But were they ever really in for Trafford this summer? Have they had a shift in transfer policy this summer? That's how I'm going to spin it. Yeah. But Northern football journalist Mark Douglas is going to join us to look at that. I never really wanted Trafford. To be honest, I love Nick Pope.
Yeah.
Good keeper. After 8 o'clock tonight, we'll ask whether Arsenal are still title favourites. Rice and Saka out on their feet after the World Cup. They've missed a couple of their targets as well, haven't they? Which other clubs could be knocking on the door next season? Plus, could Rodri be on his way out of Manchester City? We'll get a full update from Ben Jacobs in just a moment. Arsenal fans, give us a call. 03717 22 How badly do you want Bruno? And Newcastle fans, come on, come and tell me, how worried are you if our captain goes? 03717 22 This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Yeah, Jacob, how you doing, mate?
I'm feeling good, mate. I'm feeling positive about the new season. World Cup's over. It's transfer time. It's the real season now. This is real football now. You know, none of that balls moving across grass on a pitch. It's not about that. It's about rumours. It's about rubbish. It's about Twitter rumours. It's about winding people up about things that probably won't even happen.
And I've got 3 hours of that.
There you go, mate.
Yeah, do you know what's funny? Obviously England went out of the World Cup. I got away on a quick holiday.
Where'd you go?
Went to Crete.
Ooh.
Yeah, which was great. Apart from, have you ever been to Heraklion Airport, Jacob?
No, I haven't.
Wouldn't recommend
I've done a lot of Greek airports. They do it their way.
Yeah,
It's the politest way I can say it. They do it their way.
Yeah, to the extent where there's a burger chain in this restaurant near Gate B8.
Yeah.
And I went to get the extreme cheese burger. I was quite hungry. It's late
Extreme cheese, yeah.
Extreme cheese. Open it up. Firstly, mustard everywhere. Like instant mustard everywhere.
Right.
Thought I'd get some local food, by the way.
Yeah. Get out to Greece. Don't worry about souvlaki. Get an extreme cheese.
Extreme cheese. Had 2 bites.
Yeah.
And realised they'd missed quite a crucial component of the burger.
Did they have the cheese?
The cheese was there. Oh, big time.
Did they have the bun?
In fact, I'd say the cheese was extreme, mate.
Right. Yeah.
They had the buns.
Yeah.
They had the mustard.
Yeah.
Had the onions.
Yeah.
No burger.
You had an extreme cheese sandwich, is what you had.
That's right. I had a mustard sandwich.
Very nice.
Very good stuff. So obviously had that on the way home. Brilliant holiday, by the way. Your tan looks great. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,
cheers, man.
You look trim. You look trim. Look like you've been dodging burgers, actually.
Which I have. Unintentionally, I have. And then I get back to this news that Bruno's potentially going. I mean, that's been rumbling on, hasn't it, for most of the summer. We're missing out on James Trafford. Have made a signing potentially today, though. It looks like what's his name again? Amaji Bamba is coming through the door for 34 million. Oh, look, I'm quite excited about
You've wanted him for a while, haven't you? You've had your eye on Amaji for quite a long time.
Oh, a long time. Watch his YouTube highlights this morning. Looks a player. But on Bruno, seriously, as an Arsenal supporter, how are you feeling about this? And how badly do you want Bruno at your club?
I'm desperate for it. I'm obviously the Morgan Rogers thing that happened last week with him, going to Chelsea. It seems that they agreed the fee of 117 mil with Villa. Arsenal just said we're not going anywhere near that, and I think that's the right thing to do. But as a fan, you spent all summer dreaming of the player in your shirt. You watch him for England, and every time he comes on the pitch, you're almost willing him on as if he's already an Arsenal player. So then when you lose that, like even though I had some reservations about how he fits into Arsenal's forward line, I was heartbroken. This Bruno thing, like you say, this has been rumbling on for about a month now, and I've got to be honest with you, I didn't see Arsenal looking for a centre midfielder going into the new season. Do you know what I mean? I thought, Zubimendi, Rice, Miles Lewis-Skelly started playing in central midfield from about April onwards, looked absolutely brilliant. But then Bruno Guimaraes is so good. And I do believe this. I think if he does move to Arsenal this summer, I think he will be the best player that moves between Premier League clubs in this transfer window.
Really?
I really rate him that highly. I think he's absolutely fantastic.
Not Morgan Rogers.
I think he's a better player than Morgan Rogers. Right now.
Pound for pound.
28 years old. It'll be about 30, 40 million quid less than Morgan Rogers, by the way.
True.
I think he's a better player than Morgan Rogers right now. And I think now that the market, let's be honest, that the market's pretty bad. There aren't many great players willing to move clubs at the moment, right? If you can get a player like Bruno Guimaraes, who in my opinion is one of the best, the 5 best central midfielders in the Premier League right now, if you can get him whilst Spurs have done 100 million on Tonali, nearly the same on Fernandes from West Ham. If you can get Bruno for 70 million quid, you've instantly bought one of the best players in the league. You've upgraded your midfield, and that makes your attack better anyway. So I am desperate for this move to go through. Let's be like, Arsenal should have got Bruno years ago. We were linked to him 4 years ago when he went to Newcastle. We should have done it then. When Xhaka left, we were linked with him again. We should have done it then. This is a player that we've been linked with for a long time. He makes Arsenal better straight away. And I think if there's one thing that's going to derail Arsenal's season next year, it's going to be the fact that Rice, Saka, Saliba, potentially Gabriel as well, are absolutely wrecked and they need a break. And you can sit Rice down straight away. You can go off on your holiday, see you in a few weeks' time, mate. Sit Bruno straight into that midfield, let him run the midfield, done.
Yeah.
Easy. Partnering with
Do you actually think that could be how they play it? Seriously, do you think they could genuinely, if they manage to get this Bruno deal over the line, they're set to bid this 70 million. We'll go into the details of how much they could bid for him eventually.
Yeah.
But could that be how Arteta plays it? You bring Bruno Guimaraes in, who, by the way, is also, he had an injury at the end of last season. He's just been at the World Cup with Brazil too. It's not like he hasn't been playing a lot of football, but you bring him in alongside Zubimendi and you just give Rice the ability to reset.
100%. Yeah. I think this is something Arsenal have got wrong a lot over the last couple of years. We absolutely destroy players. We play them through injury. We overuse them. You'll look at Carabao Cup games where we're still using players like Saka, Rice, Saliba. You think, why? Why do we do it? They got the Premier League over the line last year, so you almost feel like you can't really question anything. And yet at the same time, we've just signed Bukayo Saka up, 350 grand a week for 5 years. Let's be honest, he can't run. We saw the best of him in that game against France on Saturday evening. That's the best he's looked in months.
Yeah.
And apparently he wasn't fit enough to get a minute on the pitch 3 days prior against Argentina. So, that's one that's broken. Kai Havertz played every week at Chelsea, always fit. Gets to Arsenal, he spent the last 18 months, 2 years nearly, injured. And if we're not careful, we'll do exactly the same thing with Declan Rice as well and William Saliba. So I think that has to be one of the most important things Arsenal do. They've completely gutted out their medical team, new doctors, new fitness staff, all across the training ground. Now you've got to start protecting the players. I think Saka, Rice, Saliba, you should be saying to them, I'll see you after the September international break. Let them sit down. It's 5 games before that September international break. As long as you miss those 5, you're basically saying come back in October. Yeah. That's what they need to do with all of those players.
03717223344. Do you agree with Jacob, if you're an Arsenal fan, that this Bruno signing, if it does happen, feels like a bit of a needle mover? Feels like one that Arsenal need to get over the line if they're going to ensure back-to-back titles next season? I mean, Jacob, from a Newcastle perspective, obviously I'm joking a bit in the start there, but this is devastating. Losing our captain is absolutely devastating with what's already gone on this window. You've lost Anthony Gordon, you've lost Sandro Tonali, and I'm just looking around that squad now, and I'm looking at the incomings, which actually I should be a bit excited about, I think. I think what they've done is they've located a bit of talent, they've located a lot of potential, Newcastle, but I'm afraid that they're going to have to look beyond that, because of the players they've let go. And imagine being Eddie Howe in this situation. Imagine being Eddie Howe. Oh yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to completely gut you of all of your stars and then bring in a few players that are completely unproven in the Premier League, and you've got to make your best of it.
But do you think Eddie Howe is completely devoid of blame in all of this? Especially when Sergio Tonali, when he spoke about joining Spurs, and by the way, you got incredible money for Tonali. That is a great deal, right? He specifically said, I want to go and work with Roberto De Zerbi. And if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd listen to that and I'd think, why is a player so keen to leave a manager who has won a trophy at Newcastle, has qualified for the Champions League twice at Newcastle? Why are they so keen to go and work with De Zerbi? I get the Italian thing, but we were talking about this. If you go back 12 months to where Newcastle were 12 months ago, you're about to have a season in the Champions League. Again, you just won your first trophy in a very long time. Isak was still at the club. To think that 12 months down the line, Tonali gone, Isak gone, Gordon gone, rumours over Lewis Hall's future as well. Yeah. Bruno potentially gone. I think it will happen. I think he will move. The manager has to take some responsibility in the fact that in 12 months, the club has just completely slid. But I know what you're going to say. The owners are completely responsible.
Yeah.
The fact that they've come in, they obviously didn't see the financial restrictions coming in that came in just after they bought Newcastle. They thought they'd be able to spend in a way they obviously couldn't. But the negligence, the utter negligence. Last summer's transfer window, let's be honest.
But this is the point, actually. This is the point, Jacob. And you can sit there and blame Eddie Howe for signing off the transfers. That's absolutely fine. But the club had basically no infrastructure above him in place, ready for what was the biggest summer in so long for the club. They just won a trophy, just got into the Champions League. The pulling power should have been huge. They missed out on all sorts of targets. And then they miss out and panic buy the likes of Johan Wissa or Nick Voltemade. And they deal Eddie Howe a bad hand. But then what do you expect him to do?
You say panic buy Nick Voltemade, right? He starts the season playing number 9. He looked fantastic. Of all the strikers that moved last summer, right, out of Gyökeres, Šeško, Ekitike, the first 6 weeks of the Premier League last season, I'd have said Voltemade's the best one. He gets a couple of injuries. Then they start mucking him around, playing him in midfield. There's a part of me that thinks, I'm sorry, Eddie Howe, but you were the one who took him out of that number 9 slot. And before we sort of say he's not to blame for any of it, the man making the transfers is Eddie Howe's nephew. They're making these plans.
Part of it.
They're making these plans over Christmas dinner. Like it's his boy doing it.
They're pulling a cracker.
Yeah, they're pulling a
Johan
cracker.
Wissa.
Oh, Johan Wissa, there we go. Oh, it snapped in half just like his knees did. But there has to be a little bit of responsibility taken by the manager. The fact that 12 months ago, if you were a manager, you had everything you wanted. And as much as you bought bad players last summer, they spent a lot of money.
Yeah,
if you were to
also sold big players, Jake. And look, I know people get frustrated with Newcastle fans, Villa fans, etc., going on about it. The rules are a massive part of this too. A massive part of this too. When you look at the mistakes that some of the big six teams have made in terms of transfers and are able to go out again and either make the same mistakes or bring in a bit of talent or hijack transfers, Newcastle can't operate like that, which means that, yes, they can have a bad summer and we can, argue the toss about who's to blame for all of that. But essentially, they have to have their hands tied behind their back because of the rules that were in place before, and now the UEFA restrictions that are also limiting them and Aston Villa. And we've already seen, haven't they? I mean, it was funny because Manzambi went to Aston Villa, and a lot of people maybe fairly pointed out and went, "Oh, hold on, these are the two PSR clubs," and one of them's hijacking the transfer. And then in the next couple of weeks, Yuri Tillemans goes and Morgan Rogers goes. So Aston Villa are in a similar situation anyway.
How much money did you spend last summer?
It's about 250 million.
Come on. Like
They sold ESAT for 130, mate.
But that's still
sold ESAT for 130.
Right. Net spend, fella. Yeah, that's still 130 million quid. There's plenty of clubs in the Premier League that would look at Newcastle and say, "We wish we could spend 130 million quid."
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I don't doubt that the rules are somewhat unfair, and I do think there's clubs. If you look at some of what Chelsea's been doing recently, I think it looks a bit questionable. Obviously, there's charges against Manchester City that we're still to hear the conclusion of what's happening there. But as much as you might say that the PSR rules are affecting Newcastle, you are still spending money.
What's Arsenal's biggest sale, Jacob?
Huh?
What's Arsenal's biggest sale?
Arsenal's biggest sale?
Ever.
What, we're talking players?
Yep. I know you know what it is. Go on.
It's
Sell the class.
It's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah. How much was that?
Well, it was in the year 2017.
Yeah.
And
How much was it?
It was...
How much?
It was £34 million.
Can you say that a bit louder?
It was 34 million pounds.
There you go. Yeah. 03717 223344 if you want to get in touch. I do want to hear from you Arsenal fans on that Bruno transfer too. How excited are you by it? Give us a call on that. This is talkSPORT.
Jack Grealish.
Yep.
Also going to be back at Man City.
Yep.
Next season.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Jack if he's given a chance by Maresca, because he would have been part of that Man City squad that Maresca was at. Or will the manager think, no? And will Jack think, you know what, maybe I want to move on? I think it's still early doors. I think we have to see what happens over the next 6 weeks. Still 6 weeks left of the transfer window. Start of September, it closes. I don't see him staying there. I see him moving on.
Where?
It wouldn't surprise me if he moves somewhere else in Europe. I don't see him staying in the Premier League. So I think he's still got 1 year left, I think, of his contract. So the wages as well, will that be a problem for some of the clubs, maybe in the Premier League? But don't rule out maybe back to Everton. David Moyes loved him.
Yeah, he did well there.
Yeah, he done very well there.
Did well there. Okay, interesting. And then, of course, Rodri, reportedly waiting for Real Madrid president Florentino Perez to sanction his return to Spain. And then there's growing support for the move in the capital after he skippered them to the World Cup. Of course, as well, he's linked to Real Madrid. Do you see that one getting done?
It depends, because I did see that from Perez saying that it's not something that they want to do. And I don't think Manchester City are going to let him go on the cheap. I think before the World Cup, they maybe would have negotiated a deal. But his performances in the World Cup was the Rodri that won the Ballon d'Or a couple of seasons ago. That Rodri I wouldn't sell for anything less than 80, 90, 100 million if I'm Manchester City. He's that good. And he's one of them players, Rodri, Shaban, that will play deep into his 30s. Doesn't rely on pace. Very good technically on the ball.
Yeah, Goodies was the burger chain, mate.
Goodies?
Goodies.
Goodies?
Yeah.
I thought you were sort of protecting the name of the establishment and you didn't want to name Burger King or something like that.
I'm not protecting anything, mate. It was €15.
Goodies? I said, listen, man, if you're risking goodies on your way home, then I think,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
Can I just, if someone has been to that airport or indeed that chain and had an extreme cheese, can I just check that because what worried me?
You're worried you got it wrong and it was always supposed to be cheese.
And yeah, it's supposed to be no burger. That's what I'm worried about.
No, surely not.
I can't bury Goodies without the full facts.
Is Goodies a Greek establishment?
I'm not sure, mate.
No?
No,
I've not seen it in the UK, is all I'd say.
Neither have I.
So I think it might be a Greek establishment. But then
Could be.
Greeks, it's quite a meaty cuisine, isn't it? It's mixed grills, it's souvlaki.
You'd be surprised to see no burger.
Yeah,
basically.
you would, yeah.
Oh dear. This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink, alongside Jacob Hawley. Jacob, in just a moment we'll get a full update from Ben Jacobs. But
Yeah.
I do think you made an interesting point there about Eddie Howe and that kind of pull. But the thing I find strange about it is if you asked, I think, Sandro Tonali, or if you asked Alexander Isak, or if you asked Anthony Gordon, Eddie Howe massively developed them as players. And, you can understand them potentially wanting to move on and explore different parts of their career, whatever, that's kind of fine. But I do think it's a shame that people would then look at Eddie Howe and not think that he's a manager that can help improve them. For instance, Lewis Hall was another really good example. Tino Livramento.
Yep.
You could even put Bruno Guimaraes in there. I'm not saying these players didn't already have talent. Of course they did. But he's still a manager that has taken them to a good level.
Do you know what? I think Eddie Howe, it's almost a strange place that he occupies in football. He's been at Newcastle a long time now. A long time. Premier League managers don't usually last that long. He's done some brilliant things for the club. 2 Champions League qualifications, the trophy as well. As you say, he's improved all of these players. Do you think, are Newcastle at risk of becoming a stepping stone club? Do you think players maybe look at Newcastle, go, I'll do 2-3 years there. As you say, Eddie Howe will improve my game. And after that, and to be fair to Newcastle, those players fetch very good fees. But after that, that's when they then go on to a really big club. I nearly said Tottenham Hotspur there, but what I was going to say was the Liverpool or Barcelona. Obviously, Tonali's gone to Tottenham, which I do think is a bit mad, to be honest with you. I do think it's mad when you think they were nearly a Championship club coming into new season. But is there a danger that's what Newcastle are? And from a Newcastle fan's perspective, it's not what you want. You want to be able to get into Europe, stay in Europe. I guess what you'd want is to be closer to Villa, really. Is that fair to say?
Well, our ownership has said that they want us to be in the conversation to be the biggest clubs in the world in 2030. You don't get there by being a stepping stone club.
Time's ticking, mate.
Ticking down a bit, isn't it?
3.5 years.
Anyway, for more on all of these stories, let's speak to talkSPORT's transfer correspondent, Ben Jacobs. How you doing, Ben?
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Thank you, mate. Let's start with the big story of the night. Bruno Guimaraes. Looks like there is another bid on the way from Arsenal. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, not massively new in the sense that we reported about 4 days ago on talkSPORT that Arsenal were set to bid again, and that is still the expectation. This evening, Newcastle are waiting for that formal direct contact. And the feeling is that the number will be in and around £70 million, possibly with some add-ons on top. And then it's going to be down to Newcastle. My expectation is that anything starting with a 7 might be difficult to get done. Let's also see how Bruno Guimaraes reacts to a expected bid. And this is against the backdrop where Newcastle are insisting radio silence, and Arsenal sources say any bid would effectively be their third, 55, 65, and now at least £70 million. And again, from Arsenal's point of view, they're being very disciplined in the market. Newcastle don't want to sell. There probably is a number in mind where they might be persuaded to at least consider it. But it's not just about the money, is it? It's also whether Newcastle United are prepared to lose their talisman off the back of Sandro Tonali going to Spurs. And then added to all of this is Aladji Bamba, an excellent defensive midfielder who's going to come in for €40 million, so about £34 million from Monaco. And formalities are already underway to finalise that deal. The player's already in Newcastle. Newcastle sources insisted this morning that we shouldn't read into a midfield arrival as Guimaraes is suddenly free to leave. So I think Newcastle are quite frustrated by Arsenal's approach, But at the end of the day, maybe eventually money and the player's desire could still talk.
Ben, it feels a bit of a strange one, the way this move's been reported. As you say, there are Newcastle-based journalists saying there's been no contact. It's all been intermediaries, agents. No one's actually picked up the phone to Newcastle. People on the Arsenal side seem to be insistent, no, there have been bids in there. What's going on? Is it PR from one club trying to not look like they're selling their captain willingly? Why is there so much dispute over whether a bid's been made or not?
It's just games, and it's how Andrea Berta operates. There's other intermediaries and high-profile agents that are involved. And sometimes these deals, as with Elliot Anderson to Manchester City or Morgan Rogers to Chelsea, also take place at an ownership level, because it's not just about, is there a number that Bruno Guimaraes could be sold for? It's also about, will Newcastle United's owners at a project level, at a strategy level, at an optics level, allow this kind of transfer to be sanctioned, and on what kind of timing? So it's not as simple as two sporting directors just holding a conversation, and a lot of it is semantics. So Newcastle are well within their rights to say no direct bid, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been a bid. Newcastle are well within their rights to say they're frustrated and they'll turn certain numbers away, but that's part of the games that go on, because things sometimes that get out in the media can be a message at the same time to either buyer or seller. And it's not to say we as journalists are caught in the middle, because we put scrutiny on all information and we go to all sides. So if we publish it, we believe it, but it can simultaneously be true and a message. So if Arsenal are putting numbers out there and they're only verbal offers, maybe Newcastle say they weren't offers at all. You just chucked around some numbers and walked away. And similarly, if Newcastle are putting out that they would not accept an offer at a certain number, then if that preempts a bid, it can simultaneously be true and send a message to Arsenal. Because in an ideal world, Newcastle would love it if there was zero interest in Bruno Guimaraes and then he stays. It's not quite like Morgan Rogers, where deep down a sale helped Villa financially and to reinvest in the market, even though they loved Morgan Rogers. With Bruno Guimaraes, there's zero doubt. If Newcastle United could jump in a time machine and wake up a minute after the deadline had passed and they've still got Bruno Guimaraes, they'll be delighted. The challenge is Arsenal are pushing and the player wants the move.
Oh, find me that time machine, Ben, please. Please find it. What about these links between Maxence Lacroix and Chelsea that have been going around? How close could that one be?
Yeah, my understanding is this deal is really close now, and again has partly involved owners on both sides as well. It's expected to be north of the £52 million that saw Jan-Paul van Hecke move from Brighton to Spurs. The reason why I mentioned that is because it was a high fee for a player that only had 1 year left on his contract, and Max Lacroix has got 3 years left on his deal. So Palace are well within their rights to be seeking more than that particular transfer. And some of this has been down to, can Palace find another centre-back? In addition, can they get the valuation that they are looking for in an inflated market? And we can now say that all things are starting to move on this particular deal. In particular, Crystal Palace are in talks to sign Chris Lane Matsima, who plays as a centre-back at the moment for Augsburg, and that, according to my information, will fully unlock this Max Lacroix deal. But regardless of that particular transfer, the clubs have got really close now to agreeing a package anyway. And in those talks, Chelsea have offered Axel Disasi to Crystal Palace too. They value the player at £25 million plus add-ons, but at this stage, I'm told that Palace have got other targets in mind.
Ben, brilliant stuff as always. Thank you very much indeed, mate.
Thanks a lot.
There we go, Ben Jacobs there. Axel Disasi. I mean, it just keeps seeming to get these moves. I just don't see it, Jacob.
How much money are they going to get for Disasi?
Yeah, 25 million, he was saying there.
I think that would be either Arsenal's second or third record highest sale if Arsenal could sell for 25 million. It's insanity.
Rules are fine, though, aren't they? The rules.
Yeah.
They're all good. Yeah, Newcastle just need to up their revenues, don't they? Up next, we will be chatting about Newcastle United. Do we need to ease off a bit? It would help if all of these different clubs stop bidding for our best players. Give us a call, though, 03717 223344. This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT.
rate Aston Villa. I know the size and the history of the club. They're a big, passionate support. This is bonkers because I rate Emery as well. I have no idea what anyone at Aston Villa have seen in Alejandro Garnacho to think that he is perhaps a solution. I just don't understand it.
Talk to me about the player.
He's a reprehensible character. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing.
What was that word again?
Reprehensible, horrible, objectionable. I mean,
Google.
Hateful. There's very little to like about him. I think that he's a man who's in it for himself. I've seen nothing to suggest that he's a player that he believes he is.
He's 22.
It doesn't matter.
No, both of you chill out. You're grown men. Hammering this poor lad.
He's not 16.
Poor lad.
No, but he's 22, and I get it. He's got all the riches in the world.
5 years at 22.
But I think it is overkill. He is
It's
a
not
good
overkill.
player.
No, it's underkill.
He's a good player.
I'm not intelligent
He's
enough.
in the Premier League for a reason.
I'm not intelligent enough
He's
or
been
articulate enough
considered
to
by
do
Villa for a reason.
justice
He's
to
been your
how
club for a
objectionable this
reason.
bloke is.
Can you ignore her?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Can you finish?
I am trying, yeah.
Talk amongst yourself.
Okay, to any Villa fans, to any season ticket holder in that whole end, I tell you this is an error, a mistake, something that will haunt you. And it's a terrible, terrible statement for Aston Villa. He will disrupt your dressing room. He is not the player that people think he is. Do you know the kind of player that he is, really? He should be running the wing at Cadiz. That's the level of footballer that he is. He should be running the wing at Iber, at best. This belief that he is somehow a fantastic talent that just needs the right manager to unlock him. He is a million miles away from that. He's really destructive to a dressing room.
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? That seems to be the case with the Super Bowl halftime show. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centerpiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first Super Bowl was held in 1967. Initially, the halftime show was a display purely for the fans in the stadium, with marching bands, dancers, and American patriotism for all to see. And that's what it was for the first few years. Disney had a go with a few questionable displays in the 1980s, but it wasn't until '93 that we got the first glimpse into the future of halftime shows. Michael Jackson's stellar performance gave NFL execs something to think about. A raft of massive names followed, including Diana Ross, U2, Janet Jackson, who gave us the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction of all time. So how many people are involved? To give you an idea of the scale, Rihanna's 2023 performance included 800 people, and experts reckon it cost $13 million. What's even more impressive than some of the names on the bill every year is the fact they do it for free. The artists know the exposure they'll get from doing the show will rocket them up the charts across the world. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
Good evening, this is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with me, Olly, Clink. I'm alongside comedian and Arsenal fan Jacob Hawley. The sun is shining. If you're heading out this weekend, make sure to grab a pint of So Good Lager from talkSPORT and Meantime. It's available in all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars across the country. Find out where your nearest pub is at talksport.com/so good 18+. Always drink responsibly. If I were to gamble on any of our presenters to have had one of those pints and loved it, it's you. 100% it's you.
I've had it. It's delicious.
It's lovely.
And I say now, I'm not being paid to say it. It's delicious. It's a lovely crisp lager. It's very nice on a hot day. Recommend.
Good stuff. There we go. I'll give you 50 quid. Now, before we move on, let's get a preview of the evening's action in the World Matchplay Darts. We've reached the quarter-final stage over at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, and we can say good evening to talkSPORT's Ian Danter. Evening, Dance.
Evening to you, Ollie. Yeah, quarterfinals for the next 2 nights at Winter Gardens. And as you might imagine, many here tonight are focused on Luke Littler and what the reigning champion can do later in the second match on stage against the Northern Irishman Josh Rock, a man he's played 9 times and beaten every time. The first meeting being here actually last year in the semis when Luke hit a 9-darter. He hit a 9-darter against Nathan Aspinall just 2 nights ago in the first leg, remember. Rock does have a mean average of 99 in those 9 defeats to the Nuke, so it's not like he's nowhere near his opponent. How close can he get tonight to causing a huge upset? The first quarter-final that's on just after 8 p.m. pitches the 2018 winner of this title, Gary Anderson, against the Dutchman Dirk van Dijvenbode, who's already accounted for 2 seeded players in Chris Dobie and Michael van Gerwing, both matches pretty much going the distance. He's only had 1 previous quarter-final match here, though, not much experience of going deep in this tournament, and Gary has never lost a last 8 match here on 4 previous occasions. Our talkSPORT 2 coverage begins at 7:45 p.m. this evening, so feel free to join myself, Paul Nicholson, Chris Mason and Chris Murphy, who'll be helping out on commentary tonight for another scintillating evening of darts on the radio.
Dance, thanks very much indeed. How much So Good Lager do you think's being down at Blackpool? At Blackpool Winter Gardens tonight.
It'll be a heavy session, mate.
It will.
Heavy session on the So Good.
Okay, we've been chatting a lot about Newcastle, of course, losing a lot of their star players, allegedly missing out on a few of their big targets, and they're not bringing in many new established signings, shall we say. Joining us now is Northern football correspondent for the iPaper, Mark Douglas. How you doing, Mark?
Hi, Mark. Yeah, not too bad.
Mark, I guess we should start with this Bruno Guimaraes story. Arsenal set to bid £70 million for him. Do you see him in an Arsenal shirt at the start of next season?
Well, I mean, we've been down this road before at Newcastle United, where you know the message from the club is very much, you know, they don't want to sell. There's no interest in selling, and we'll see really in the next few weeks what happens. At the moment, I know that if it was a £70 million bid, it will get knocked back. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Newcastle are talking more around the kind of 80 million, 85 million mark, and obviously still don't want to sell him even off the back of that as well. But we know how these things go. The player obviously does want to kind of talk to Arsenal. I think he probably would want to go to Arsenal if he had the opportunity. And it's just whether this is a kind of initial sort of shot, a kind of warning shot across the bows for Newcastle, and maybe it encourages Bruno to kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say necessarily do what Isak did last summer, but will he kind of, you know, is he going to be back for pre-season next week? It's a question I think is valid to ask. I mean, at the moment we're being told that, you know, he's assuring people that he will come back, but we will see. We were here last summer, and obviously with Isak it was a very difficult and very drawn out saga, and obviously he did end up getting the move. Newcastle ended up getting a very good price for him as well. But at the moment, you know, that £70 million bid will not be successful, but I'm not sure Arsenal necessarily think it will be successful. And it could just be the start of the kind of the saga and where we're kind of going on with things. So yeah, disappointing for Newcastle. I think that they could potentially lose another player, but at the moment, a lot of road left to kind of go in this one.
Mark, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I've had a really keen eye on how this is going down. There's 2 things I've sort of read about Bruno. Firstly, is that he said that he will not do what Isak's done last summer. He said he doesn't want to do what Isak did and essentially go on strike to force a move. He's also said that he does want this sorted before he starts his pre-season training. That feels like it puts a bit of a deadline on it for me, that it kind of needs to be done in the next few days, next week or so. How likely do you think it is that they do find a fee where both clubs are happy and this gets done?
I think unlikely in the short term, judging from what Newcastle are sort of saying in the background. And, you know, it's been a really strange saga the whole way through, because Newcastle are telling us that there's been no official club-to-club contact. But obviously the Arsenal side of things, or maybe the players' camp side of things, are saying that there has been some direct contact. So, you know, you're kind of used to this when you cover transfers, that 2 sides have differing opinions. But Newcastle are absolutely adamant that there's been no official bid. In fact, I think that it's safe to say that kind of there has been, you know, there's good links between Ross Wilson and the kind of Arsenal people. And I think there has been some kind of, you know, reaching out to them and saying, look, if this is going to happen, you need to come to us, and we need to start talking about where we kind of, what kind of bid that would be acceptable. I think the Newcastle have kind of been I think it's very clear that they want as much as they could get for him. So if they did sell him, they're talking kind of Tonali money. Now, I think 90 million is unlikely for a player who's 28, kind of approaching 29, but he would have to start with an 8, and I think it would probably be nearer to an 85 million than it would be to 70. Can you bridge that 50 million pound gap in the space of a few days? I can't see it happening. So it's going to drag. I think, Eddie Howe, the first chance he's going to speak all summer will be on Saturday. The Newcastle playing Gateshead. It'll be really interesting to see what he says. But short term, can it get sorted in the next 3 days? Unless things accelerate massively and Arsenal are prepared to kind of come to the table with a bigger bid than 70 million, I just can't see that. I can't see that happening. And Newcastle don't want to kind of avoid the sagas that spread into the start of last season, because it really did damage them. So, I think next 3 or 4 days unlikely, but can I rule it out happening entirely? I think you'd be a fool to, because it just doesn't work like that in modern day transfers. When a player wants a move, it is difficult to kind of prevent them from doing that. But the noises that we're hearing from Newcastle are that, they expect him to still be here at the start of the season. So we will see. It's a really difficult one.
Yeah, Mark, I've got to say, as a Newcastle fan, this is like deja vu of last summer. Complete deja vu in terms of this transfer. I do want to talk about the incomings, though. And firstly, want to touch on James Trafford, who looks like he's going to be ending up at Leeds. Now, he felt like a target that Newcastle were very much after last summer. But does it feel a bit unfair with the reporting this time around to say that they've been almost hijacked for this move for James Trafford? Is that the case, or had their interest actually dropped off a bit?
It's been really interesting because Newcastle have kind of come out quite strongly and said that the only contact that there has been on James Trafford for Newcastle has been when they were discussing Sandro Tonali with City, and he was mentioned at that point. So that would be kind of 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they've been really clear. I think they are aware of the fact that, they obviously missed out on Victor Muñoz. They missed out on Manzambi last 2 weeks ago. It's fair to say that they were hijacked on both of those deals, and the narrative around Newcastle has been pretty negative this summer. So I think they've come out and very much set their stall out on that one and said, we haven't been hijacked. He's not a player that we've kind of actively pursued this summer, but I think it's fair to say that they did have interest in him this summer.
Didn't want him anyway. He's rubbish.
There's a bit of that, isn't there? There's a bit of that. I think the numbers have got too big, and they were very wary. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody in around autumn, and they were very wary of being dragged down the James Trafford route again, having been turned down for him twice. But clearly he's a player that they liked. I mean, they looked at other targets as well, but clearly a player that they liked. I think wages-wise and transfer fee-wise, I think they probably just come to the conclusion that if the player's not 100% keen and isn't going to push for it and has other options, we'll look at other things. But yeah, I think had the conditions been right for Trafford, they probably would have pushed for it. But they're very adamant that they haven't been hijacked this time, because he never got as far as actually bidding for him.
Do you think Newcastle are sometimes harshly treated by the media in some respects, in the way that their transfers are reported on? Obviously the H word comes up a lot, hijack, etc. Or do you think it does fairly reflect these deals and how they happen?
Yeah, look, I mean, you can't rewrite history last summer. They missed out on a lot of players. I think it's really weird because last summer they went for elite players and were kind of blown out of the water by quite a lot of clubs last summer. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They went for Ekitike, he went to Liverpool. They went for Šeško, he ended up going to Manchester United. I mean, you can't dress that up. There's no way that you can possibly say that they got their top targets last season, because they didn't. And they have missed out on 2 this summer. But if you speak to Newcastle, they'll say, we expected to be kind of beaten to the punch on some of these players because we haven't got Europe this season. And the way that the financial rules work, we knew we were going to have to sell players, and we knew we can't offer as much in terms of wages and fees as other clubs as well. It's been quite sobering, I think, for the last 12 months. It's fair to say at Newcastle. They've kind of pivoted quite a lot in recruitment towards, developmental players this summer. And, they've kind of talked quite bullishly about competing for the Premier League, even the Champions League by 2030. But I think we're now seeing a bit more realism about what the project's going to be for the next 12 months, because they've spent a lot of money, and probably financial rules, UEFA's financial rules rather than the Premier League's rules, mean that they can't afford to keep doing that without revenues catching up. So the choice is really stand here and sort of pretend that you can keep doing that and end up getting fined, or end up being in a position where you've got to sell off the crown jewels for not a lot of money, which is what they did with Elliot Anderson and Yankuba Minter, and I think they're still paying the price for that. Or you kind of take your medicine in one summer, which I think is what they're doing right now, and say, we'll go for these 20, 21-year-old players, we'll develop those players, and we'll try and keep hold of as many players as we can who we think can kind of develop with us as well.
Yeah, Jacob.
Lewis Miley, who's a cracking young midfielder, by the way.
Yeah.
And, he hasn't been getting games because his route's been blocked by Tonali and the rest. And Elliot Anderson couldn't get games when he was at Newcastle. That's why they ended up selling him.
Yeah.
So at some point, you kind of think Newcastle had to kind of confront the reality in front of them. If they're not going to challenge the financial rules, they have to confront the reality. And that's probably what they're doing this summer. And I think it gets better from here. But yeah, it's really sobering when you consider 2 years ago they were in the Champions League and talking about winning the Premier League, and it's going to be a struggle to get into Europe next season. Certainly a struggle to get into the top 5 given the players that they've sold. But I think they can do it. If the players are as good as they think they are that they've signed, they're really good young players. But I do think they need to keep hold of Bruno, or at least replace him with a player of equivalent value, because the squad looks very, very young and very light on the kind of star quality that it had 12 months ago.
Jacob genuinely started laughing when you brought up 2030 and winning the Premier League, which is great. I've got 2 more hours with him, Mark. 2 more hours. Good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once he talks about how much he loves Bruno. It's fantastic. Mark, it's been a pleasure to have you, though. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem. Cheers, guys.
There we go, Mark Douglas. Do I feel better after that?
Yeah, of course you should.
Do I?
You've got 20, 21-year-olds. You've got Lewis Miley. It's only going to be 3 or 4 years till we have to sell them for 100 million. It's great, mate. You should feel good.
03717 223344. I don't know when I felt worse, when I had that burger with no burger in it, or right now. Probably right now. Arsenal fans, give us a call as well. How are you feeling about Bruno Guimaraes potentially joining your club? Do you think it's a needle mover? Do you think he gets you over the line? And Newcastle fans, come on. How worried are you about next season? Is it only the Championship we'll be winning in 2030? 03717 223344. You're listening to Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Next up, we'll take your calls. Good evening, this is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly, Clink. I'm alongside Jacob Hawley. It's just been quite smug for the last hour.
Oh, yeah. Premier League champions, mate. I'm allowed to be.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do?
No, but it's been directed at me, though, hasn't it,
Yes,
really?
because my team are buying your captain. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to pat you on the back? Do you want me to be nice about it?
Just want you to give me a so good lager, mate, to be honest.
Afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, plenty of you got in touch. 03717 223344. Want to hear from Arsenal fans on this Bruno Guimaraes potential signing. Is it a needle mover? Does it get you over the line for back-to-back titles? And Newcastle fans, go on, come and have a wallow with me about potentially losing our captain. Nathan is an Arsenal fan. How you doing, Nath?
Good evening. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. How are you feeling then? Bruno Guimaraes potentially coming through the door. We just heard from Mark Douglas there. 70 million's not going to do it, right? He thinks it'll be closer to 85. Do you think Arsenal should pay that?
I'm not going to lie. I made a joke to a producer, but now the actual truth sounds worse. I said, I don't know who the comedian is or the Arsenal fan, but it's the same person. Bruno Guimaraes should not be on our radar the same way I was over the moon. Morgan Rogers was not signed by Arsenal. I'll tell you the reason why. And the Arsenal fan there in the room can maybe back me up on this by not realizing that I'm right before he says it.
Okay.
If you think about the positions that Arsenal need to strengthen in to, as you said, move the needle.
Yeah.
If you were to rank them as top three, most Arsenal fans would say a world-class striker like Alvarez and a left winger, probably number one, number two, either way around.
Yeah.
And then anything else after that probably is third. So you might say a Declan Rice support, or maybe a William Saliba support, etc. But the first number two would be striker and left winger. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to spend between 70 and 85 million pounds on the third position down that rank that we need to move the needle,
yes,
how much money do we spend on the first two positions that we need? We don't have £1 billion to spend.
No.
If we call it 85 million on the third choice position that we actually need to move the needle,
and he's 29.
how much is a striker? How much is a left winger? That's not enough money to spend. That's it. Like, it's very simple. So even though he's a great player, and I understand that, literally he could be the heartbeat of our club. If Ødegaard were to leave and we get money in for him, I could see him being the leader, etc. But that's all if, buts, and maybes. Right now, that hasn't happened. Right now, we need two more positions before that, and spending close to £100 million on a position which is third in the line is not a smart choice to make.
Yeah, but Nate, just because we're doing this one first doesn't mean we're not doing the other two. Like
No. Wait, sorry. My question was to move the needle. So how much money do we spend? So 85 million on the third choice.
Yeah.
And let's say minimum 85 million on the second choice.
Yeah.
And minimum 85 million on the first choice.
Yeah.
How much money do you think we have to spend? 300 million?
I think we'll spend nearly 300 million.
I just said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think we're going to spend 300 million pounds.
So how much is Alvarez? Because he's
I think he'd be about 110, 120. Yeah.
Okay, so that's already only even 60 left for our second choice, which is the most important one, which is the left winger who we haven't replaced yet,
How's
or
that
even
60?
had for 3 years.
If we do 80, hang on, check my maths. You're the teacher, so get your pen out, right? So,
I never told the teacher. Who said that?
I thought you were a teacher. Sorry, Nathan.
Very interesting.
80 million quid on Bruno. Yes.
Yeah.
So then 110 on Alvarez.
Sorry, I heard the next. I heard the next one is 85 million before the contract and salary. But yeah, carry on, please.
Are we counting? Well, if we're counting contract and salaries, we're doing a lot of work here. We're doing a lot of mathematics.
I heard the next bid was 85 million, so it won't be 85. So let's call it 90.
I don't think it's going to be 90. I don't think it's going to be 90.
How much for Alvarez?
I think 110 does Alvarez.
Okay.
And I think that's going to roughly leave us 100 million pounds for a left winger.
And who would that be for 100 million?
I think potentially Yohan Diamande. I think potentially Bradley Barcola. Which left winger do you want?
I would prefer to.
No. You got to give me a name. You got to give me a name and a number. Which left winger do you want, and how much do they cost?
I don't want a left winger. That's the difference between you and I.
You just said that's number one priority. You want a left winger. You said that's the first priority.
1 second. I said based upon the amount of money we have to spend, most Arsenal fans would say striker number one, left winger number two. I'm not of that belief. I think the role that Morgan Rogers is being brought in to play on our left wing, I think Eze and Martinelli can cover that very, very well. With Zolis, we've brought in today, I think that covers that. I would rather spend all the money up top and buy a striker. But for me, I would rather confirm more important positions like replacing the Rolls-Royce centre-back who's going to be injured for maybe a couple of months.
Hold on, centre-back.
And buying a world-class striker, then bring in a centre midfielder when we have Declan Rice, who, yes, he is tired, but give him a bit of a rest. And you also have Zubamendi, who every single person who's ever seen him in the Euros says when he came on for Rodri, he was better than Rodri. So I don't think that's an area of demand. I would rather not spend money on a position that we have immense strength when we still need a world-class number 9 for about 4 years. And it will cost us,
Nathan, I
as
swear
you said,
you
about
said that
one
of the priorities was left wing.
No, I said Arsenal fans would say that. But
it says here he's an Arsenal fan.
Sorry, can we go back to the point I was making, which is if you were to name the positions that Arsenal fans generally would say are the most important, they would generally say striker and left winger being number one. I think Eze and Solis and Martinelli, now Trossard's left, is plenty for the left side. Eze
You've got cash to burn, though, Nath. This is the thing. You've got loads of cash to burn, haven't you?
No, we don't.
Why not?
Because if you burn cash this summer, then we have less cash to burn next summer. That's not how it works.
Okay, so what's your top priority for next summer then, Nathan?
If we don't buy a striker, we're a striker. I mean, we need to buy a striker. I would right now, honestly, because of his age, I would spend 120, 130 million pounds on Alvarez without question. Because anyone right now, having seen the World Cup, which is the world stage, we can all name the world-class strikers on our hand, one hand. And Alvarez is not a world-class striker. There are only about 3 or 4 in the entire world, and one of them's 34 years old in Harry Kane. So that's a really hard.
Who do you want, Nathan? Sorry, who do you want?
What do you want, Nate?
I'm so confused.
What do you want? Do you want Alvarez or do you not?
No, I just said I would. No, 1 second. I just said he's not yet world class, but I would spend 120, 130 million pounds on him. Of course, I would.
Okay.
Okay. So you want Alvarez? You want Alvarez? You want Alvarez? Yeah.
You do want him?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you have Alvarez and Bruno?
No.
No.
Because that would mean that because it looks like our team and our club are going to want to invest in a left winger.
You don't want a left winger.
I don't want no. I'd rather spend far more money on Alvarez. Absolutely.
But you can have Alvarez. I've given you Alvarez. Right. Pretend it's deal or no deal. I'm the banker. Yeah.
I'll be the banker.
You've got Alvarez. You've got that.
Yeah.
That's in your box already.
Right.
I'm offering you Bruno as well. Do you want him?
Do you know how no deal works? That's not how the game works. Just checking. I can't have both boxes. Are we paying the same game?
It's in the same box. It's in the same.
Sorry, do you know how the game works? Sorry, I'm not being rude, but that's a bit of a silly question. Do you want all the boxes? Yes, I would love all the boxes, please.
Oh, my word. Come on, Jacob. It's not how the game works.
Sorry.
I haven't watched all the boxes. Then the answer is yes. I would like all the boxes. Yes, please.
My point is, Nathan. My point is, look, we had Ben Jacobs on a minute ago, and if you've been keeping up with what Ben's saying, we are still in for Alvarez. I think you might get what you want, which is a new striker, a new forward at Arsenal. I think they want Alvarez. If he's going to move, I think Arsenal will be involved. I don't think just because we're doing Bruno first, it means we won't get a forward as well. I think it may well be that they do Bruno and a striker, be that Alvarez, maybe Krupi, and maybe a left winger on top of that. So I don't do yourself down, mate. You're worth it. You might get everything you want this Christmas.
Nave, just before you go,
did you say I'm worth it? I appreciate that. That's lovely.
Nave, just before you go, Bruno Guimaraes, deal or no deal?
No, absolutely. Can I have that box and the Calvarez one, or is that?
It's not how the game works, mate. I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Thanks for your call, Nave. 03717 22 4. If anyone knows what Nathan wants, please let us know.
Or how deal or no deal works, because apparently we don't know.
Please send us the rules to deal or no deal, because we haven't got.
Noel Edmonds could phone up next. That'd be great. And Blobby.
Come on, Noel. Get on the phone. Next up, we're going to discuss the title race.
What do you make of the transfers? And also Maddison's back. You know, maybe Kulusevski coming back as well. You've got some key players back as well.
I'm excited. I really am. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with the team. It looks like he's got some real kind of men in. You know, like with Tonali and Robertson, people who are going to, you know, like leaders on the pitch. I think that's what we needed. You know, it seems to me like he's going for a type of side who are going to have some energy in the middle of the park. With a bit of experience and kind of like a bit. I want to see a bit more like housery from us. Do you know, like a bit like Arsenal have done.
Yeah.
You know, a bit more like know how to win, and because we've been a soft touch. We've played some decent games, but then like we'll throw away goals and points at the end of the game.
And it's time to embrace playing in that outstanding stadium.
Yeah,
getting a home crowd on side. Don't fear playing there like they have done for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Like embrace it and make it a fortress.
Yeah, I'm happy with what we've done so far. We've still got to figure out what we're going to do on the left. Like the left wing for me is an issue. Who's going to play out there? No, we don't want Garnacho.
You want to take over?
No, you take Garnacho, mate. He's a good player. Take Garnacho.
He's good. You have him.
Oh, I think he's a good player, mate.
Why didn't you outbid us? Outbid us, mate.
I think that if we sort left wing out and maybe look, Richarlison's not the future for me with Spurs. I think if like Richarlison for me we should try and get rid of him. I don't know if we can.
Over the years, we've been treated to some amazing exhibition events in sports. Some become iconic, but many fail to live up to the hype. So what are some of the most anticlimactic exhibitions? Technically, it wasn't an exhibition because it ended up being sanctioned as a pro fight, but it basically was. 2024 saw Mike Tyson return to the ring to fight YouTuber Jake Paul. The event, which Paul won, was streamed by 65 million people on Netflix, making it the most streamed sporting event ever at the time. But many complained of buffering and freezing. And as for the fight itself, well, it was considered an entertaining disaster. I mean, it wasn't prime Tyson, he was 58, and after the fight, Paul, who was 27 at the time, said he'd actually gone easy on Tyson towards the end. Now, Mayweather-McGregor in 2017 was a better watch, despite Mayweather going rope-a-dope early on, but it was way too expensive. Pay-per-view was 75 quid, and in the stadium, the cheapest ticket was over 370. Now, this next one you could have watched for free, only because the pay-per-view had streaming issues, so they had to open it out. I'm talking about Tiger versus Phil in 2018, which was nicknamed The Match. Massive names and massive rivals going head-to-head. On paper, it worked. In reality, it didn't. The two players were mic'd up, so we all thought we'll get fascinating insight. We'll be able to hear them insult each other for 18 holes. But what we actually got was more heavy breathing and sniffles. And for two GOATs, the golf itself was bang average. And speaking of GOATs, let's end with Messi and Ronaldo. In 2023, an exhibition between PSG and the Riyadh All-Star 11 saw them share a pitch for possibly the final time. To be fair, it was a goal fest, which PSG won 5-4, and Messi and Ronaldo both scored. But it was obvious they were past their prime. El Clasico, this was not. And with it being in Saudi, there were more sports washing claims. So there you have it, exhibitions that have let us down. And I didn't even have time to mention the Community Shield.
Still got absolutely no idea what Nathan was after there. This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I'm Olly Clink alongside comedian and Arsenal fan Jacob Hawley. In this hour, we're going to talk about the title race and we'll chat about some of the runners and riders. Arsenal, Manchester City, possibly Chelsea. Am I prepared to call them contenders? Maybe. Are the Gunners still the favourite to retain their title? Who is going to be in that mix? Maybe Newcastle. Also this hour, we'll get your thoughts. Who is your club's best pound-for-pound signing of all time? Get in touch. Give us a call, 03717 223344. You can text us on 81089. And you can leave a voice note too on the same phone number, 03717 223344. This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Jacob, to play Deal or No Deal, you must select one of 26 numbered cases or boxes, each containing a hidden cash prize ranging from a nominal amount to the top prize.
Yeah.
These are the rules, by the way, just so... Because you got it wrong.
I didn't get it wrong. I was making Nathan an offer, yeah? I was offering him both Bruno and Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, but you can't have two in the same box, can you?
What do you mean?
You can't have... That's like saying...
I wasn't offering him a box. So the dealer doesn't offer a box.
Right.
Nathan's got a box, yeah, which inside of it is his happiness. I want him to be happy, yeah. So, so I'm making him an offer.
I wonder what else is in the box.
Of one Bruno plus one Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, it's just he seemed quite adamant you got it wrong. I'm just look. I'm the middleman. I'm the banker in a lot of ways.
You're Noel.
I'm Noel. No, I am Noel.
You've lost weight. You're not blobby anymore. You're Noel. Now that you had that burger with no burger in it, you're Noel now.
I'll take that. I'll take that for sure. 03717223344. I want to chat to you about Arsenal and whether they are title favourites next season. Is it one of those ones where I think, as Rory Jennings would say, you give them the courtesy as champions, that they are the favourites for next season? Or when you look at the squads and what's going on?
If I could articulate myself properly, as a Chelsea fan, his little legs hanging from the bottom of the office chair. Can I just say? No.
This is a medley of footballing splendour.
I reckon him and Simon Jordan just sit in the corner of talkSPORT Towers with a thesaurus going, you try that one today. If you try that one, I'll do that one.
Simon, I'll use the word metronome. If you use the word spectacular. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Excuse me, I'm sitting outside. Could you pay me the courtesy of not doing impressions of me on the radio? Absolutely appalling. Lincoln, we'll be having words.
Do a better word than appalling.
No, you don't deserve a better word. You don't deserve a better word.
What word do we deserve? Can't say it.
Mate, I am honestly flabbergasted at you. I'm sitting out there. I'm having my pre-match coffee. I'm having a fantastic time just catching up and everything, preparing for the show that's on next. And I've got you ridiculing me.
And I've shut my thesaurus and come in here. Ridiculous,
the
mate.
impertinence of you, mate. Listen, brilliant show, chaps.
Thanks, mate. Thanks very much. That's Rory Jennings there.
Fantastic.
So good.
This is the best show in the world, surely. It's like a Royal Rumble. Yeah. Door gets kicked open, someone's getting suplexed over a table.
I love the fact as well that I bet Rory actually started tuning in and went, they're getting deal or no deal wrong. That is superfluous what's going on there. Oh, what a man. He's coming up from 10, by the way. You can hear all of those big words on the sports bar a bit later on. But anyway, Jacob, going back to the chat we were having about Arsenal and them being favourites, I'm just thinking about Declan Rice. I'm thinking about Bukayo Saka and the fact that they just looked out on their feet at that World Cup.
Well, okay, yeah, I'll let you finish.
And I'm thinking about Saliba and I'm thinking about some of the injury issues Gabriel has had and whether they will have an impact this season beyond what we're expecting and whether that does derail you potentially getting back-to-back titles. Because when you think about it, you are going to be fighting on all four fronts again. You're going to be trying to get to that Champions League final once again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that for me, it's just making me think that this title race could be a lot closer than, you know, when Arsenal fans won the league, they're all there going, oh, it's a dynasty, isn't it? Pep's leaving, it's a dynasty. I don't think it's going to be that simple.
I do think, in terms of the opportunity that's opened up for Arsenal to win back-to-back titles, you can't really ask for much more than Liverpool going into the season, new manager. And by the way, Liverpool fans listening will say, well, it's an improvement on what we had before. I don't doubt that. But I think to expect Iraola to come in and immediately win the Premier League, it could happen. But I still think that presents an opportunity for Arsenal. Same as Chelsea. The big one is Manchester City. And we can sit here and talk about Arsenal players looking wrecked. Rodri's having surgery on his back.
And bought Elliot Anderson.
Come on. I love Elliot Anderson, right? I thought he was one of England's best players at a World Cup. There is a gulf between Rodri and Elliot Anderson right now. I'm sorry. There is a gulf.
I'm just saying that they've dealt with that situation.
As best you can.
As best you can.
But there are certain players in the world, and I really think Rodri's one of them. He's a Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah.
You can't prepare yourself for the fall off from that.
Okay.
Now, in terms of Arsenal's players who look knackered, let's be honest, right? When that team sheet came out last Saturday evening, I saw Declan Rice's name and Bukayo Saka's name.
I couldn't believe that.
I was raging.
Yeah.
I was raging. I was looking at flights. Get me over there. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to Thomas, right? And then they start playing. That's the best Bukayo Saka I've seen in months. Declan Rice does the full 90 minutes, and at one point picks the ball up in the middle of the pitch, goes, yeah, I'll just keep running. Keeps running, bangs it in. And if I was to make bets for you now, I'll tell you now, I'll do 50 quid on this if you want. Even better, I'll do a delicious pint of So Good lager on this.
Oh, all right, yeah.
I reckon Declan Rice starts the Community Shield.
I'll take it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I know it'd be Bruno Guimaraes.
But seriously, the man is made of Teflon, right? And Arteta is a psychopath. He'll play him in the Community Shield. The William Saliba news that we've had today, that it's no surgery, I think is brilliant news. But bear in mind, this is an injury. It's not new. He's had this for an awful long time. 4 years ago, do you remember the first season when we competed with City for the title?
Yeah.
It was a back injury that stopped him for a few weeks then. He did this is something that's just on. I think this people underestimate this with footballers. They're all injured all the time. They're all managing something, and those things will flare up, and then they'll cool down a bit. Saka looked the best he's looked in months last Saturday.
In a friendly.
I take your point.
I'm talking about the full season. This is the thing. I'm talking about the full season.
I think if Arsenal was smart, I think what they would try and do is with those three players in particular, they'd sit them down for August and September, and say, don't go away with your countries in that international break. Come back in October. Rice won't do it. I'm telling you now, he won't do it. He'll be there for Community Shield. I guarantee it. Saliba, I do think will probably sit down for a while. Saka, I don't know with Saka. Saka, it's a weird one with Saka, and I think this is maybe the one that's most worrying.
Drop-off's big, mate. It is. We saw that at the World Cup, let alone last season. Madueke.
What do you mean?
For Saka.
Oh, sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
I thought
if Saka's not playing.
I thought you meant his level now. No, I agree with you. The drop-off between Saka and Madueke, I'll be really honest with you. I'd be looking at the kid Dalman instead of not.
Good shout.
I'd really be looking at him. He's turning 17 this season. 17 is the age that all these like superstars, whether it's Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Rooney, whoever it is, Bellingham, even Foden, that's the age where they just suddenly kick on. And so here, I'd be looking at him and saying, I want 20, 25 appearances from the Premier League this season. But Saka's a funny one because we tried resting him. Didn't seem to help. Sometimes with these players, it's like you need to play them, get them up to fitness, get them up to match sharpness. So I don't really know. I hope they sit down, and I hope we do the business that means we can sit them down. But when I look around, I do think that Rodri back injury and the fact he's had surgery, which, let's be honest, that's probably 3 months.
And could be off to Real Madrid, by the way.
Well, that is a completely different thing. But let's just assume he's going to stay. But that's 3 to 6 months, I'd imagine, recovering from back surgery. We've seen the difference between City with and without Rodri the last few years. I think Elliot Anderson's a fantastic footballer. There are certain players you can't replace. You just can't replace them. And I don't think you can do anything to... I think that's a 10-point gap. Easily.
Well,
a season with...
So Arsenal going to win the league by 10 points?
I'm not saying that. But I'm saying the difference between...
Sounds like it.
I'm saying the difference between a Manchester City with Rodri and a Manchester City with Elliot Anderson... Honestly, and I think Elliot Anderson will improve over the next couple of years and get
10 points.
He's a Ballon d'Or winner, Ollie. Is Elliot Anderson going to win a Ballon d'Or?
Seriously.
Is he going to win a Ballon d'Or?
No, but hold on. Has Rodri been the same Rodri anyway since he had that ACL?
It's just been awarded best player at the World Cup.
I know, but for City.
When he was fit at the end of last season, mate, they were a different team. They were a different team. I'm not saying this to downgrade Elliot Anderson. There are certain players, when they hit that level, you can't replace them. You can't. And we've seen it with City. You cannot. We cannot replace them. You see what I'm trying... So I mean, who would you say, out of those teams...
I think it's a 10-point gap. And this is the thing. You're saying City, but you're saying City.
Without Rodri.
You're saying City. The key challenges to Arsenal retaining their title, and there's a 10-point difference.
I'm saying there's a 10-point difference between City with and without Rodri. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Who would you place as the closest contender to Arsenal? If we're assuming Arsenal are the favourites, which the bookies have them as such, who would you place as the closest contender? Is it still Manchester City?
I tell you what, Jacob, let's talk about that after the break. Get your calls in as well. 03717 22 33 44. If you're an Arsenal fan, you absolutely happy with it? Are you the favourites? Are you going to win the league by 10 points, as Jacob seems to be suggesting? This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. We'll talk about those other contenders next.
I'd separate what happened in the World Cup from my club. So if he wants to stay, I'd keep him. He's a really good player. He plays well for us. Really don't like what he did in the World Cup. If he wants to stay, keep him. If he wants to go, like any player that wants to go, let him go. But I would, 100%. We need experienced players with a new manager. We need continuity. So do I like what he did? No. Do I think he's going to get loads of stick wherever he goes? Maybe some at Stamford Bridge? Yes. But if he wants to stay, get your head down and play for us. That's what I think.
And how do you feel about, obviously, Alonso coming in as manager? Couple of signings so far. You get John Stones in the building. You feel good about things for this season?
I feel that after 4 years or 4.5 years of trial and error by American owners, that at last they're appointing a manager, not a coach. The only thing I would say is that we need to bring in some experience. So we bring in someone like John Stones with the experience he's got on a free. And also we don't need I hate to say it, but fairly average sporting directors. We need a couple of really good quality sporting directors. But Morgan Rogers, really exciting to get Alonso. And at last we've got a manager, not a coach. So I'm looking forward to this season.
Where does Morgan Rogers play in the 11?
I think he's been told he's going to play off the left.
Is he?
I believe so.
Okay.
Interesting to see how that works with Cole Palmer. But if you listen to what Morgan Rogers said yesterday, Cole Palmer was constantly on the phone.
Yeah, they're close.
Leading with
So
him
are they going to play with 2 10s maybe?
Good evening, this is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Arsenal fan and comedian Jacob Hawley. It's the quarter-finals over at Blackpool Winter Gardens in the PDC World Match Play. It's live on talkSPORT 2, but let's get an update from Chris Murphy.
Yeah, we are 5 legs deep into this quarter-final match between Dirk van Dijvenbode and Gary Anderson, and the Dutchman has taken 4 of them. He knocked out Michael van Gerwen in the previous round. He's looking to take another giant scalp here against the 2018 champion, but it should be said that Anderson did find himself in this position in the previous round and went on to knock out Johnny Clayton. He also, at the age of 55, posted the highest average in the first round of the event. Plenty to go in this one. First to 16 now at the last 8 stage. So Gary Anderson won't be worrying just yet, but finds himself 4-1 down against Dirk van Dijvenbode, and live commentary is on talkSPORT 2.
Chris, thanks very much indeed, mate. Yeah, you can check that out over on talkSPORT 2. Just before the break, you were asking me whether there are any other contenders for this title.
Who is the number 1 contender to Arsenal's title?
I think it's Man City. I think it'd be unfair not to say Manchester City, but are we sleeping? Seriously, are we sleeping a bit on Chelsea?
Look at this.
Are we sleeping a bit on
You've just had Rory Jennings running the studio and attack you, and now you're trying to curry favour with the big man.
Gave me 10 quid. No, but
do you know what? It's
the reason I say it. No European football.
Yeah.
Xabi Alonso coming in and being the manager, not the head coach, and that's been reflected in this transfer window so far. They've beaten you to Morgan Rogers. They look like they're bringing in Maxence Lacroix, who's 26. So finally, they're breaking that ridiculous transfer policy of only signing players that seem to be under 24. And I think it's that lack of European football. And when you look at what Alonso did at Leverkusen, okay, completely different league, I get that. But it was still an incredible achievement to go invincible in that league up against the might of someone like Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in and amongst it next season. Chelsea?
I think they'll get Champions League football. I think they will get
Can
Champions
they be in a
League.
title race, though? With a bit of this window left, there's definitely...
So what do they look like? Let's just quickly try and think of it in our heads. What do they look like? So they're going to be João Pedro up top. They're going to have Cole Palmer and Morgan Rogers playing off of him. They'll do 2 centre midfielders, Caicedo and...
Well, Fernandes, but...
Probably goes.
He might.
So that might be someone
Lavia?
else. He's never fit.
Never really fit.
Is there someone else in there in midfield that there's a start?
They would be the starters right now. But I get what you mean on Enzo Fernandes.
Right wing back, they just bought Palestra. Left wing back, I guess, would be Gusto.
Yeah, Gusto, yeah.
Then they play Reece James on the right-hand side of a 3 at the back, Lacroix and
Chalobah, potentially.
Chalobah. And then that keeper.
They still haven't...
They don't sound like Premier League champions, is all I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Is that...
But does Trossard, Gyökeres and Saka... Or Madueke, if you want, for half the season. Sound like Premier League.
But I think Arsenal won that Premier League with their defence, really, didn't they? And I think you can say that Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Calafiori, Raya, Declan Rice ahead of it. You know, Ødegaard in midfield. There are really top, whether you'd say world class, maybe one or two of them, but there's top players there. Is there enough like really top players in that Chelsea team? Don't get me wrong. I think they'll be right up there, and I think Xabi Alonso. I think not enough was made, actually, of the fact that they got him in ahead of a club like Liverpool, for example. Have they got more world-class top players than an Arsenal or a Manchester City? Who, we can talk about Manchester City. Obviously, Pep's gone. You know, Rodri's fitness now. They've still got the best number 9 in the world. For me.
Have they got the best squad still? Man City?
Man City.
Even as an Arsenal fan?
I think Arsenal probably got the best squad, but I think City probably have the best starting 11.
Okay, I see what you mean. So Arsenal still have the depth.
I think Arsenal got the depth, but I think in terms of just top players that they can, you know, Rodri, Haaland, Cherky's a great player, man. Vardiol. Do you know what I mean? I still, but like to compare that to Chelsea, I just think that's a much better team than Chelsea. I think you could say the same with Liverpool. If Liverpool can get Ekitike fit, Isak fit,
and firing,
they've still got some brilliant players. Liverpool, Van Dijk is getting older, but he's still a very good player. I still think those top 3 teams that have kind of been at the top for the last sort of 5 years or so, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. I still think they've just got a little bit more quality than Chelsea, but I don't. The thing is, Chelsea are 1 game a week.
This is what I mean.
And we saw that in Manchester United last season.
That's why I chucked them in there, mainly. Because I do get your point, especially at the back, they don't have the quality of the other sides. I completely understand that. It's that 1 game a week factor. It really is, because we saw, like you say, Michael Carrick's Manchester United pull results out the bag. They probably weren't playing at their best either.
No, and I think, Xabi Alonso's a very good coach, right? We've seen it where he's been before. Obviously, Real Madrid, it's a basket case dressing room. I think it's harsh to judge him on that. He will want time on the training ground with those players. And I think the beauty of it for him, he's got time on the training ground with those players, and they're young players. They want to listen to him. They want to learn. They want to be drilled in what he wants to do. They're clearly building a starting 11 in his image. They bought, Lacroix, who wants to play in the middle of a back 3.
Yep.
Palestra is a wing back. Rodgers and Palmer off of a striker. That's exactly where those 2 players want to be. 1 or 2 more signings.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't know, mate.
You're
spooking me now. You really are spooking me with Chelsea.
03717223344. Paul is an Arsenal fan. Paul, are you spooked by that Chelsea shout?
No.
Good man, Paul. Good man.
I think what, and I it's been great listening to everything tonight, but I think what everyone is also missing, because everyone's talking about transfers, is Arsenal's the one stable team going into this season.
How do you mean?
Everyone else has got a new manager or are bringing in big money players because we've got some of those that are kind of going out or getting a bit older. The players that we're going to bring in is purely going to be to continue to make sure we've got that squad. Because even speaking Saka, yes, I know he fell off last year, didn't get many minutes, but see when he did get the minutes, scores a hat-trick. He even said in the interview he's fit, he's ready to play. But if he's not there, Dauman comes in, Wanyeri's still there. Saliba, he's going to be missing. We've got Hincapie, you've got Calafiore, you've got Mosquera. We've got good players that have now got another season behind them, and they've got a season after they've won. This team are going to be going out there and fired up to make sure they retain it.
Paul, do you think there's still a lot of work to be done by Arsenal in the transfer window? Obviously, links to Bruno Guimaraes today. It seems as though we still want at least one forward. What do you see Arsenal doing in the summer?
I think the guy that they bought today on the left looks all right, and he's had a good couple of seasons. But I think someone like a Williams for the left, someone like Alvarez up front, those would be the real kind of major signings that you would think, wow. But it's not like I'm sitting here saying they need to go and buy those players and not still be able to be the team to beat. Bruno, I think, would be brilliant, because I would love for Declan to get a bit of time off the pitch. But I agree with you. He's not going to be willing to come off the pitch unless you've got to wheel him off.
Yeah, it's so true. Do you think that left wing, though, and another left wing signing instead of or on top of Zolis rather, is the priority though for Arsenal?
I think so, because that's where we struggled last year. And I do have a feeling that Martinelli will go in this transfer window as well.
Yeah, there's been rumours of that. Williams is an interesting shout, Paul. We've been linked with him for a couple of years now, haven't we? And it's a funny one. I remember, when we first linked with him, I thought he felt expensive. I think it's still a £70 million release clause to get him out of Bilbao. And I mean, nowadays, that feels cheap.
That's a good price.
That's it.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it, Paul? Nowadays, you look at Morgan Rogers, 117. I don't doubt Bradley Barcola from PSG would be similar money to that. You look at 70 million quid now, you go, God, I could get a couple of left wingers for what I'm paying for if they're 70 million pounds. I mean, I don't know how much you watched of Nico Williams, Paul. I've got to be honest. I've mainly watched him playing for Spain. I thought he was great in the final. I still remember what he did to England in the Euros final 2 years ago. So that is one that excites me.
Yeah, I think he would be brilliant. His issues, he's been injured a lot last season, but I think he would fit in perfectly.
Well, if he's injured, he will, yeah. We always get injuries.
Paul, great call, mate. 03717 223344. Coming up next, we're going to chat a bit more about Manchester City. The Athletic's Sam Lee is going to join us after Elliot Anderson was officially unveiled at the Etihad.
Something about Tottenham here. It's a big conversation because obviously it's about trophy wins, European Cups, all of those sort of things come into it. But in the modern world, it also comes down to support base. Money is so much involved, and Spurs are a big club, full stop. Of course, we're above someone like West Ham. We have got more support.
He had you above West Ham
globally. Well, I know, but he was almost fighting with that. You could also look at a support point of view globally. We would make Chelsea look tiny. They have had more recent success. Facts, they've had more success. But we also got to think about Tottenham history. First team to do a domestic double. First team to win the European Cup. We have history that can't be ignored in the same way that like Aston Villa.
Without being pedantic, people will be shouting at the radio, European Cup, not the European Cup.
A European Cup, yes, apologies.
That's all right.
And I think that history is important, it really, really is. And I don't want to sound like I'm banging on about the past. We know what we've been. I'm a realistic Tottenham fan. I've seen it. Arsenal are a big club. Hate saying it, they're a big club. Bigger than us. I've got to say that as well, and that's going to upset people.
Rich, could you do me a favour then? You rate them 1 to 4 first.
It'll have to be Arsenal.
Okay.
Gives me the up, but there you go.
Then who?
And it's controversial. I'm going to put us above Chelsea and then West Ham at the bottom.
You think Spurs are bigger than Chelsea?
As a club, as a supporting club, and all internationally supported, and all their clubs, 100%, yes. And history, yes.
just nipped out into the office during that break. Rory Jennings has about 4 pages left of the thesaurus that he's reading. Genuinely, 4 pages left. He's flowed. It's massive as well.
He's nearly swallowed it all. He sat there with his knife and fork.
He definitely couldn't swallow.
Bottle of ketchup.
This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink, alongside Jacob Hawley. We've been chatting a bit about Manchester City, whether they are the main title contenders against Arsenal next season, which it's pretty safe to say that they will be. We can hear from their new man too, Elliot Anderson, who has outlined his reasons for choosing the Etihad.
I think just the winners, you know, the relentless, and that's the sort of team I want to be a part of, is champions and people who win trophies. And yeah, so as I say, over the last 10-12 years, it's they've dominated, so that's why I wanted to join.
Yeah, 35 million Newcastle sold him for.
I'm so sorry, mate.
Let's get into Manchester City's transfer news now with the Athletics Man City reporter, Sam Lee. How you doing, Sam?
All right, lads. Yeah, all good. How's it going?
Sam. Yeah, really good, thank you. I guess we start with that Anderson news officially announced. Jacob was talking a bit about the potential drop-off in quality, he was saying, if Rodri leaves the club or potentially isn't fit throughout the season with Anderson coming through the door. Do you think that's a bit harsh?
No, because I think Rodri's the best midfielder in the world, isn't he? So
yeah.
I know City's probably one of Jacob's favourite subjects, but I think it's hard to argue with that, isn't it? Like, factually, Rodri's the best, so you can't argue. It's interesting with Anderson, though, isn't it? I think the deal and like City going for that kind of player reflects like how the Premier League is. It's so physical. Like before, City would always sign like, right, how good are you on the ball? And are you like big enough to put your foot in? But now it's like, are you big and strong and can you win the ball back? And like, how well can you pass it? Like, I think the scales of tips, like everything's become so physical. It's a bit like Rice.
Yeah.
Like Rice is no Pirlo, is he?
No.
But like for this current Premier League, he's perfect. And it's the same thing with Anderson, basically.
I mean, it was interesting watching them together for England, wasn't it? 'Cause it almost felt like two of a similar thing. Very physical, cover a lot of ground. I assume then, Sam, that Elliot Anderson was purchased by City when there was no intention of losing Rodri. The idea is to play those two together. There's a little bit of whispers of Madrid having intention of looking at Rodri again. If that was the case, do you think City would go back into the market for another midfielder?
Yeah, to be fair, like City have known for a while that Rodri could go. It's not like they were like, let's bring in Anderson and Rodri's definitely staying. Like City have been trying to keep Rodri for ages. They've had like a massive contract offer on the table, but look, he's got a year left and he still hasn't signed it. You could read between the lines a bit. If he was massively keen on signing it, he would have done it already. The thing is with Madrid, like I've got 2 really good colleagues in Madrid and they're super busy. They know everyone, and like various like top decision makers at Madrid don't want to sign Rodri or didn't want to sign Rodri. They've been saying that all summer, and I think that's been reported in Spain quite like thoroughly in the last couple of days. But like the cultural capital of being Spain's World Cup winning captain might change things. There might be people on the board at Madrid saying, actually, we should get this guy if he's got 1 year left on his contract, if a deal can be done. So the big question is, do Real Madrid now want to change their mind, basically? Does Florentino Perez say, actually, we will get this guy? And then I think if they do, I think Rodri would be up for that. But City have kind of known this for a while.
Talking of the World Cup, Sam, Ayoub Bouadi was very impressive for Morocco. He's another midfielder that Manchester City have been linked with. Do you feel like that one could be likely?
Sorry, that was another question, wasn't it? Yeah, so City have always been looking at signing 2 midfielders, really, like whether Rodri goes or not, because Tonali they had some interest in, but it didn't really get very far. Bouadi, yeah, there's interest in him. What was it, 100 million euros, 86 million pounds? That seems to be the kind of thing. He's obviously only 18 years old. City have had a load of different thoughts about, do we loan him back? Do we keep him with us? Does he play right back? Maybe if needed. He needs to improve in more attacking areas, that kind of thing. But he is definitely a player that they're looking at. And I think, to be fair, for that kind of price for an 18-year-old, like I think he's worth it from what I hear and what I've seen. But like I don't think there's going to be too many other clubs who are going to put that money down. So I'd imagine City are probably bang among the favourites for that because they do want him, and I just don't see many other contenders for him.
Yeah, another player that Arsenal were linked with that they missed out on, Jacob. Interesting.
Come on, yeah.
From a Newcastle fan.
Yeah,
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I mean, the irony is, I don't think it's necessarily missed out on him. We prioritise your captain instead. I mean, that's why you're sat there laughing.
Sam, is there any other areas that City are looking to strengthen, do you think, in this window?
Yeah, the main ones were right back and a winger. But because they could be losing quite a few players, it's just going to, like, mushroom cloud, basically. If James Trafford goes, then they're going to need to buy a goalkeeper, aren't they? Guardiola's staying, but he was thinking about going for a bit. Real Madrid have kind of been looking at Diaz. So it's like, well, if one of those were to have gone, or, you know, if Diaz goes, then they'd have to get a defender, most likely. But yeah, the main areas were right back, because last season it was Mateus Nunes and nobody else. And to be fair, I didn't give him a hope. But he was great, actually, for City. But they do need, like, cover in that position. And yeah, up front, they might be losing Marmouche. So yeah, a winger. Although he doesn't play on the wing, I think a winger is what they're looking at, because they could use Semenyo more centrally if Haaland's not around. It's always been difficult for them to find another striker, because, like, who wants to come and be, like, second fiddle to Haaland, really?
Yeah, it's the same kind of problem that Spurs had when they had Harry Kane, and it sort of worked out best just to use Son there instead. If it were to be a winger, are there any names City are looking at?
I'm not sure. No, to be honest, I'm not sure, because all I heard was, and look, they obviously will have names, but I heard they were looking for a winger that is not just a dribbler, but can, like, create something with a pass as well. And then there was as far as I know, there was a discussion about, well, there's not too many, like, top names out there that would actually be worth doing. Look, I'm not trying to justify the fact that I don't have the names, because I'm sure there are some, but that is genuinely one of the discussions they were having. So
yeah, sounds like Jacob Murphy to me.
Yeah,
I think that's true, though. I think that is true. There's just not much out there. It's funny, because obviously Arsenal are looking at a winger, Liverpool are looking for a winger. You know, PSG is sort of looking at Diomande, not sure. Yeah.
I'll just say on Diomande, actually, I think he wanted, or does want, a lot of money.
Right.
So City, I think apparently he wanted more money than Doku. So it's like, well, you're not going to get more money than, like, an established winger. Yeah. So as far as I was concerned, that was a non-starter. Maybe that changes, but yeah, that he was one, but for that reason, no.
So 19-year-old from the Bundesliga.
More money than Doku.
But this is where we are. I mean, it's an interesting thing. If you look at the top scorers in the Premier League last season, right? 3 or 4 years ago, it would have been Son, Salah, Mane. Now, who are the...
Not many of the wingers are firing. Yeah, it's a really good point. I just wanted to ask you a bit more as well, Sam, about, you know, after the life after Pep Guardiola and how much that's changed the way transfers are done at Manchester City, if it has changed at all. You know, does Enzo Maresca have the same kind of say that Pep would have had in the transfer business?
In terms of say, more or less, I mean, because they all kind of sit down and agree on what would work and what wouldn't. I suppose Pep, obviously, with the power he had, if he really would have said, look, you need to go and get this guy. I know this was for an assistant, but when it came to bringing back Juan Marleo a couple of years ago, he was like, right, I'm going on holiday, bring back Juan Marleo, whatever it costs, whatever it takes, get it done. And because it's Pep, they did it. So there's an element of that. I thought you were going to go down the route of, is there the same pulling power? And it's like Jacob said about a drop off when Rodri's there. Like, it's just a fair statement, isn't it? Like, nobody's going to really have the pulling power of Pep. And part of Tonali going to Spurs was because he wanted to work with De Zerbi. Because I've been used to working with, or around, Guardiola for 10 years. You just think, well, you just work for Guardiola. But now he's not there. It does change the picture slightly. Yeah. But no, it's all, like, collaborative, isn't it? You know, sporting director, CEO, everyone sits down. Who can we afford? Who do we want to get? Who fits the style of play? It's more or less that. And they do, to be fair, they do want to back Maresca. They want to make sure that, you know, they're not going to go into the season undercooked or anything. So it's been quiet so far, but it'll kick off, I'm sure.
Yeah, heading into this season then, what do you feel that the expectations will be, given that it is live post Pep Guardiola? I mean, are the Man City board very much hoping that they'll be lifting yet another title, if not more, in this campaign? Or are they going to give Maresca a bit of an easing in period? How do you feel those expectations will be?
I suppose it depends on the field, doesn't it? Because last season, they weren't in the title race for so long, and then there was a sniff of it. And in the end, it was like, oh, well, never really there. But yeah, there would have been disappointment too that they could have won it, but at the same time they still won the 2 domestic cups, and you'd say that's obviously, like, a really good season. I just think you need to be there. Like, we'll have a feel, won't we? If they don't win the title but they had a good season, we'll know what that feels like in, like, 9 months' time. If they've had a bad season, they're miles off it, and people are asking questions about, oh, was Maresca the right guy? Then we'll know, won't we? So I'm sure there will be, like, a target of we want you to challenge for the Premier League, but it's like, you know, when Leicester won it and Arsenal ended up finishing second. So they didn't really challenge for it, did they? Like, it wasn't.
Do you remember that,
they weren't
Jacob?
there pushing.
No, well, yeah. I mean, Spurs famously finished third in a two-horse race.
Two-horse race, yeah, exactly.
I mean, the only interesting, you know, and obviously City, as Elliot Anderson we heard from a moment ago, saying that, you know, one of the most decorated teams we've seen in the Premier League. 2 years on the trot, no title. That feels like a lot for City. If they didn't win it this year, and I don't think any of us are necessarily expecting Enzo Maresca to win the title in his first year managing Manchester City. If they didn't, and that was 3 years in a row without a title, that is a real shift in terms of what the people who own Manchester City, what they're used to, right?
Yeah, although I think they would probably be quite realistic about it, and just because we're obviously comparing that to them winning 6 titles in 7 years under Guardiola. Yeah. And like he kept saying, that's not normal. Like, that is exceptional. And for the last, 10, 15 years, nobody's defended it. Nobody's won it and then even gone close to winning it again, other than City. Everyone's dropped off massively. So I think, especially the way Khaldoon Al-Mubarak thinks and talks, as much as they'll be like pushing to win it and keep going, if they don't win it next season, again, as long as we got that feeling that they were there, that they were going for it, I think they'd look at it and say, that's probably more like the norm. It's not the standards they want to keep. But obviously 2 seasons ago, they had that campaign where everything fell apart. Last season, Guardiola was kind of trying to put it back together again. And yeah, I think we can all agree it was a good season with the 2 domestic cups. And then this one, with Guardiola gone and Maresca coming in, there's kind of mitigating circumstances for that as well, isn't there, really? So I think they'd probably look at it and say, that can happen. But then obviously they'd be pushing to go again. But that's why it's about feeling. If they're nowhere near it next season, then they might start to think, okay, this is going off the rails slightly. But I think they'll be pretty calm.
Sam, I know you'll have been asked a million times about the 115 charges. I'm not going to ask you when they're going to come out or anything like that. The question I had is, when you look at these deals that they are doing, you know, Elliot Anderson for very big money, potentially bringing in Buadi, etc. I mean, that does smack of a team that is very confident that these charges won't lead to anything, right?
Well, the big one was Haaland's 9.5-year contract, which was like a month after the hearing had finished. But yeah, look, they can't know. Nobody can know. But of course, you've got people in the experts you pay, Lord Panic and all this stuff to be in there, and you get a feel for how the trial went and how the verdict might fall, basically. But yeah, you'd have to look at all the business since. It's just been business as usual, hasn't it? Of course, they had to rebuild the squad last year because they lost a load of legendary players, but they've carried on doing it. And yeah, with Elliot Anderson and whoever else comes in, talking about Buadi for 86 million and all this kind of stuff, they have just carried on. But yeah, maybe, nobody knows. But maybe that is a sign, as it was 18 months ago when Haaland signed that contract, that, yeah, City feel like everything's going to be okay. But look, just everyone needs to get on with it, don't they? But like everyone talks about it like City fans are delighted with the situation, like City as a club are delighted with the situation. Everyone wants to know. Like people, like, I'm a bit of a lightning rod for it because I'm like the City reporter, and it's like I want to know as well. But like, I mean, I want it to be done properly. But to be fair, like it is dragging, isn't it? At this point, I went through 6-month paternity leave, convinced it was going to be during that, and then I was like, I've been back for 6 months.
Oh, Sam, please let us know. When you find out, please let us know, because we're like you. We just want to find out. Thank you so much for coming on. Fascinating stuff. Thanks, Sam.
Cheers, Sam.
Last one, lads. Cheers.
There we go. Sam Lee, Man City, the Athletics Man City reporter. Yeah, we just want to know, really, don't we?
6-month paternity leave for Sam's a bit woke, isn't it? Scandinavian. Mad.
This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink, alongside Jacob Hawley. In just a moment, we're going to chat Chelsea. Jacob's just told me he's going to have another kid and then join the Athletic.
Best chance of holiday I've got.
6 months. Incredible stuff for Sam. Amazing. This is Transfer Insiders with me, Olly Clink, alongside Jacob Hawley. Let's get a quick update from the PDC World Matchplay Darts from the Blackpool Winter Gardens. It's live on talkSPORT 2. Here's Chris Murphy.
Yeah, quarterfinals tonight. Dirk van Duijvenbode 9-6 up against Gary Anderson, but it could have been better for van Duijvenbode, and you do get the sense that Anderson is sneaking his way back into the match. The Scotsman trailed 7-2 and 8-3, and there was a big moment when van Duijvenbode missed 8 darts for a 9-4 advantage as well. Anderson now sizing up a 140. That's not going to go for what would be 9-7. The winner of this will take on Luke Littler or Josh Rock in the semi-finals. They're coming up later tonight, and commentary is live on talkSPORT 2.
I bet the so good talkSPORT lager is slipping down a treat in Blackpool.
You're making me thirsty now.
Oh,
You're making
I bet
me
it
think
is.
about that. It's so good lager.
Available in all O'Neill's pubs. We've been chatting a bit about Chelsea after they completed the signing of Morgan Rogers for 117 million. They're turning their attention to Crystal Palace centre-back Maxence Lacroix. They've also moved on Alejandro Garnacho to Aston Villa. That was announced officially.
That's the best business they'll do this summer, by the way. That is astonishing.
Big time. By the way, Rory Jennings is coming up from 10 p.m. tonight, and I cannot wait.
It's box office
to see him talk about. He is like a kid at Christmas about the fact that Garnacho is leaving his club. Let's look at their window in a bit more detail with the Chelsea correspondent for the Athletic, and he's live from Heathrow Airport. It's Simon Johnson. How you doing, Simon?
Hi, Si.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
Yeah, good. Obviously, first question: where are you going?
Well, it's good time you called me. So I'm about to start leg one of my flight to Sydney because Chelsea's pre-season tour starts in Sydney. So I'm going to take a bit longer than the Chelsea plane. I think they'll be flying in a bit more style than me. But yeah, that's why I'm here at Heathrow and I'll be covering the tour for a couple of weeks.
Amazing. I mean, 6-month paternity leave, 3 flights to Australia.
I was going the other way. I was like, they make them work for that paternity leave. You're going to Sydney for pre-season. Amazing.
Talk to us then. Go on, Simon.
Yeah. I was going to say I might catch up on some sleep that I haven't had this week because, as you guys are about to talk to me about, there's been a few things going on as far as Chelsea are concerned.
Yeah, big time. I mean, obviously the big deal being Morgan Rogers. It looked for a while as if Arsenal were very interested in that deal, but Chelsea have swooped in, and then you've had this deal with Garnacho going the other way. What can you tell us about the intricacies of that?
Yeah, so look, it's 2 separate deals, and of course, I am fully aware of the amount of cynicism about this because Chelsea and Aston Villa have done business before. But you'll just have to take my word for it that the interest in both players is long-standing. So, I mean, Chelsea's interest in Morgan Rogers dates back essentially since Aston Villa signed him from Middlesbrough 2.5 years ago, albeit for slightly less than £117 million. And of course, don't forget that Joe Shields, sporting director at Chelsea, actually worked with Morgan Rogers at Manchester City when he was in the academy. So this link has been going on. They tried last year. He was their main target in terms of for an attacking role this summer. And what they intended to do all along was wait for the World Cup, England's bid to win the World Cup to finish. So essentially, they're on the phone seriously from Thursday morning onwards, and they got the deal done in 48 hours. And unlike Arsenal, they were prepared to pay the big bucks. Aston Villa made it pretty clear that they would want more than what Manchester City paid for Elliot Anderson, and that's exactly what Chelsea have done. And then as for Garnacho, look, everyone knows that it didn't work out for him at Chelsea. £40 million signing for Man United. I think he was getting booed from his own fans, let alone every other ground he went to last season. So I think this is the best thing for all involved. Unai Emery, though, is a big fan. This is what I was talking about earlier, that he actually wanted to sign him last year. So this is a long pursuit from Unai Emery too. And the fact that it's a loan with a conditional obligation means that, and I think it's fairly achievable, that Garnacho, if he has a reasonable season with Villa, will be a permanent signing next year.
Wow, it's incredible, really, that, isn't it? And that long-standing interest, because Garnacho, And let's be honest, stunk the place out for Chelsea and with big spells at Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, I see Simon's point though. Like I've seen a lot of people.
No, I think they've done well here, really well, Chelsea.
I've seen the suggestions of it all feels a bit convenient of money going into Villa's account from Chelsea when Villa need the money, and then next year Chelsea come back. But I think to Simon's point, like Unai Emery as manager of Aston Villa, he's just won a European title, by the way. He's not just going to be taking players in so that Villa can dodge financial regulations, is he? He's going to want players that he wants, and I remember him being linked with Garnacho last summer when he left Manchester United. So, do you think there was rumours of a Nico Jackson move from Chelsea to Villa as well? Is that potentially happening?
There's definitely interest. There's been long-term interest again from Unai Emery in Nicholas Jackson, and of course his role at Chelsea. You have to question. Like he left last summer because he was worried about lack of first-team football for Bayern Munich on loan, and essentially he's coming back after the World Cup with Senegal in a very similar situation. So is Nicholas Jackson going to be prepared to be a sort of a squad member, or is the temptation to perhaps go to a club that will offer him more regular football and make him a key player? And I think it's definitely one to watch. Maybe not now, because I think Jackson might be on the pre-season tour that I'm going on, and maybe I'll have a word and get to ask him myself. But yeah, I think there's definitely long-term interest from Unai Emery. He's a big admirer of the player.
There's big links with Crystal Palace's Maxence Lacroix too, and I find this one really interesting because Lacroix's 26. We've already seen in this window there were links with Granit Xhaka too. Are they examples, do you think, those two in particular? And I know Xhaka doesn't look like he's going to end up at Chelsea, but are they examples of the amount of influence Xabi Alonso is having in terms of the say in this window for Chelsea?
Yeah, to a degree, although I think Chelsea sort of wanted to sort of change tack as well. I think they acknowledged that Chelsea needed some ready-made players, and that's why they moved for Granit Xhaka to begin with. Of course, that didn't work out with Sunderland. Maxence Lacroix has been their sort of prime target as a centre-back. Defence has been an issue for Chelsea. To find a consistent partner for Levi Colwill, of course, spent the majority of last season injured anyway. So defensively, Chelsea you sort of think, like, what is their best back four? Is it a title-winning back four? It's a long way off it. So the hope is Lacroix will come in. And that deal seems to be moving on swiftly. I think Chelsea were reluctant to pay the 55 million sort of figure that Crystal Palace wanted, but it seems that we're heading into that direction where this is going to happen. I think Lacroix certainly wants the move. You can understand why. He's had a great time at Crystal Palace, been a fantastic servant for them, but he wants to test himself at the highest level in terms of the Chelsea's a sort of club that has potential to go obviously a lot further than Crystal Palace. But he might not be the only centre-back signing. And talking about ready-made players, as I wrote earlier this week, John Stones is also on their list of potential sort of signings. Of course, he'll be a free agent, and unlike Xhaka, who Sunderland understandably made pretty clear they didn't want to get rid of, John Stones is without a club. So it's a much easier deal to do if they want to pursue that. But of course, Chelsea also need to get some players out the door. Which seems to be the case every window. There's quite a lot of players that surplus to requirements. They've managed to, as you say, got rid of Garnacho. There's a few sales they've made, like Cucurella and Andre Santos and so on. But yeah, they need to get a few more. There's a few centre-backs that certainly won't be playing next season.
Doing some bits. Simon, what films are you watching on the plane to Sydney?
Well, I just can't wait to get on there. It might be a Chelsea season review, so I'm fully prepped.
He never stops working. Literally never stops. I love it. Simon, thank you very much indeed, mate.
Cheers, Simon.
Cheers, guys.
There we go. Simon Johnson, live from Heathrow Airport. You ever flown to Australia?
No, I've never been to Australia.
Have you not?
Never been to Australia. Do you want to tell the story of your famous trip to Australia? Earlier this year?
Yeah, if you want.
Go on.
Yeah.
Ollie, tell everyone. So it was a bit of a dream trip for you following England cricket to Australia.
Yeah. I landed when England had just gone 3-0 down and couldn't even get level in the Ashes. Cheers for that, Jacob. It's the second airport story that I've had tonight. None of it's gone well. And my captain's leaving my club. And England didn't win the World Cup.
It's been a bad year for Ollie Clink, hasn't
it? Yeah.
It's been a bad year.
In a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers for that, Jacob. That's great.
Trip to Australia went badly. Captain's leaving Newcastle. And there was no burger in your extreme cheese.
And I've got another hour with you.
Feels like a Dido song, doesn't it? Extreme cheese gone cold, I wonder why. There's no burger inside.
Oh, brilliant stuff. This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Up next, we're going to talk about your best value transfers. I want to know, what's the best pound-for-pound signing your club has ever made? This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT.
Every member of the British press has spent most of the summer before the World Cup slagging it off. You've talked about ticket prices, so let me call you out on that. Was it expensive? Yeah. Was it difficult to go to games and whatever else? 100%, but they sold out most of the games. They're all sold out.
Yeah, but my question
finish.
to you would be,
Let me finish.
They sell out to the right people.
What do you mean the right people? Whoa. What does that mean?
Well,
That's a very dangerous comment. The right people.
I thought the atmosphere was a little bit diluted because you didn't necessarily have genuine football fans. You had tourists.
Okay, are we now quantifying when you buy a sports ticket, you have to qualify as a fan?
Well, I think
To
it's
watch?
unfair if you're pricing out
I'm not
genuine fans.
Hang on, I'm not a chess fan, but I might go to a chess event one day. Does it mean I can't go because I'm not a chess fan by nature? I mean, that's a ridiculous comment you've just made. That
Not really. There were
only football fans are
I know,
allowed to go to the
I
World
know
Cup.
a lot of England fans who.
You're a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
Are you telling me everyone that goes there, half of Old
No, of
Trafford
course
on
not.
a match day,
Of course not.
are die-hard Man
Of
United
course
fans?
not.
Tottenham.
But I know a lot of England fans who are in the England
Of
Travel
course, they
Club.
couldn't
They've got
afford to
their
go.
caps.
I get it.
And they had to make a financial decision not to attend this World
understand.
Cup.
Lots of
Is
things-
that right?
There's lots of things in my life I couldn't afford, or can't afford at various
Oh,
times.
not anymore.
No, well, I'm fortunate enough. I worked hard enough not to be in that position. But through my 20s, yeah, I looked on with envy that I couldn't do this, and this. Ryder Cup, I've wanted to do that for years. I'm going to go next year. It's going to cost like 50 grand. I couldn't do that 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah. And I get it was too expensive. I would have liked more fans to have had access to tickets. I get that totally. But it sold out. It was a commercial success. No matter what, everyone wants to write about it and bring all the political stuff into it and politicize it. It was a massive success as a World Cup. Probably the most commercially successful World Cup ever.
Let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. This feel familiar?
That is an absolutely shocking decision.
They've got a case in that it was a bad decision.
It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top of football refereeing? Every referee starts with their county FA. It's a simple training course and you can take it as soon as you hit your 14th birthday. Once you've done that, you have to go through at least 11 hours of face-to-face training. You'll then graduate as a Level 7 official, which means you can take charge of county-level games. But hold your horses, there's still a long way to go to get to the Premier League. Your next step is to spend a year each at Levels 6, 5 and 4. This covers the top of the amateur game. Only at Level 3 do you start doing Northern Counties or Isthmian League level games, for example. If you've done this all quickly, you can reach Level 2 and ref your first National League match after, I don't know, 6 years? After getting enough experience at that level, you can apply to be a referee in the EFL. There's an interview, people watching you do games, and then, if the EFL are happy, you'll be granted a Level 1 licence to ref in games in League 2 and above. Now, they don't just say on you go to the Premier League, you have to work your way up through the divisions. Only after years of hard work and refereeing on cold Tuesday nights in Stoke can you be considered to do matches in some of Europe's very best stadiums. Now, who was the youngest to reach the very top? It was actually Michael Oliver. He reffed his first Premier League match in 2010 at the tender age of just 25. So if you want to follow in his footsteps, crack on. It'll only take you roughly a decade, thousands of hours of work and an incredibly thick skin. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough for the top flight. That means there's not even a 1 in 1,000 chance you'll even make it in. Obviously, referees can make mistakes, but when you think about it, having a go at them is kind of like slating a brain surgeon.
My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. The morning rain clouds.
The ballad of the extreme cheese. Olly Clink in an airport in Greece, tears running down his face as he realises he's been left with only extreme cheese and no patty whatsoever.
Do you know what the most annoying thing was, Jacob? Genuinely?
Yes.
Is, look, if you missed it earlier, I told a story about I was at an airport in Greece, just got back from holiday, and I got a burger from Goodies. Yeah, I will name them. Goodies. Burger bar in Heraklion Airport.
Out on social media now. Please, Mr. Clink. Is that a Greek accent?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Greek. Mr. Clink.
Mr. Greek?
Mr. Greek. I don't know. There we are. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on talkSPORT. Anyway, Goodies. I ordered this extreme cheeseburger, and they were missing the most important bit. The actual burger. And do you know what annoyed me more than that? Is that the cheese wasn't even extreme. Like, the cheese was mild.
What did you want?
I wanted a burger, mate.
No,
to be honest. But I wanted a burger. Just heard they've got a 1.6 star rating on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
That's too high.
Well, yeah, I mean...
You wait till I get
what
on
are you
there.
giving one for? If you ordered a burger with no burger in it, at least the cheese was nice. You didn't even like the cheese.
Didn't even like the cheese. The only thing that was extreme was the mustard. Like, too much. Too much. And I was kind of wearing, like, nice linen shorts, which I'd bought especially for the holiday. The swerve I had to do to get away from the mustard as I opened the wrapping.
Oh, don't.
Because there was no burger to hold it in there. Jacob.
Nightmares. I'm getting married next weekend. I've got a nice linen suit. Made to measure.
Don't go to Goodies.
Well, I've got 3 kids.
Oh, no.
You know,
it's game over.
I know.
Why have you done that?
I don't know. But what do you do? Would you wear black? Do you wear black? Like, what do you do?
I don't know, mate. Black tie. What colour's the suit?
It's the worst for stains. It's like a sort of champagne sort of cream colour.
Champagne.
Well, yeah, it's cream, isn't it? But I'm trying to make it sound more expensive. I say
you've done that, like, you know how Arsenal describe their kits, where it's like midnight blue. You've literally done that. I don't know. I know what colour it is. It's kind of like a champagne cream.
I've got it on the brain because I get an email every Monday morning. Every time we drop points, we've just released our retro range. Have you? Ian Wright again, is it? Oh, right. How does he find the time?
Champagne cream to reflect the success of the 03-04 season.
Yeah. Well, the 25-26 season now. We've had some success again. Do you
Is that why you're wearing that suit?
No.
Oh, dear.
There was a part of me, though. Obviously, you know, Arsenal, first title in 22 years. Mm-hmm. I got to a point where I believed that England could win the World Cup. And I was thinking, like, this could be the best summer of my life.
Mm.
Wedding, Arsenal. I think it still is, to be fair. I think it still is.
What you're forgetting is it's still my year, where I flew to the Ashes, England had already lost.
Yeah.
Didn't get a burger.
Right.
You know, there was no way in which England could win the World Cup because this is my year. Do you know what I mean?
Right, I see.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's catch-22.
I got Clinks, basically.
You got Clinks. It's not just Thomas Tuchel's fault. It's my fault as well. What tie are you wearing?
Do you know what? I'm not going to wear a tie.
Whoa.
It's 30 degrees. I'm not wearing a tie.
Really?
I don't own a tie. I'm not wearing a tie.
Not wearing one? No. Your wedding day?
Huh?
Really?
No, I don't. Listen.
Don't need to dress up for that, do you?
No, but I don't.
It's only one day. Only get one, hopefully.
It's supposed to be sort of, you know, like...
Have I made you think about wearing one?
Yeah, I feel bad now. I feel like I'm not...
I mean, no tie with a suit. I mean, that's like no burger with a burger, isn't it?
It's not. Like, come on. It's a hot wedding. It's 30 degrees, summer wedding. You don't need to wear. Look, people can call in if they want. Do you have to wear a tie on your wedding day?
Yeah,
I don't think.
Andy Burnham. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, 1889. Do you have to wear a tie on your wedding day? I think you do.
I don't think you do.
I think you do.
Summer wedding.
Yeah.
If it was in the winter, I would. If it was in the winter, I'd wear a tie. But it's going to be baking hot. I don't want my collar up.
Yeah, fair enough. We've got a bit of breaking news, by the way. We're going to have to pause this chat here on whether you should wear a tie at your wedding day. Bit of breaking news. Jermaine Defoe has left his position as Woking manager by mutual consent. He only joined the club at the end of March. Woking fans, get in touch. 03717 22 33 I mean, that is a bit of a shame. I remember he had a mad start as Woking manager. I think they went 3-1 down and he managed to get back to 3-3. But that's very quick. That's a very, very quick spell for Jermaine Defoe. So I wonder what is next for him. When we should head back to the football, really. I was very interested when we were talking to Sam Lee there about when he mentioned John Stones and where he could end up. And actually, the fact that after that, Simon Johnson, the Chelsea correspondent, was talking about potentially Chelsea coming in for John Stones. And a bit earlier in the show, I was talking about, I'm not saying Chelsea are title contenders, but I just think they're a slight dark horse because of that lack of European football. And when he mentioned John Stones potentially coming in, I looked to your face, Jacob.
I noticed you glanced.
And you looked a little bit concerned with that. Do you think more clubs should be thinking about bringing in John Stones? And in that, I include your Arsenal, given those links with Mikel Arteta.
So I think the World Cup was very interesting for Stones. I'd been under the impression that he was just completely unfit, couldn't get on the pitch, right? I think by the end of the World Cup, he was still, and I think by quite a distance, England's best centre-back.
Yeah, he was. I think he started shakily, and then by the end, I agree with you.
I thought he was much better than Konsa. I thought he was better than Gertie as well. I've got to be honest, we might need a bit of cover for William Saliba while he recovers from the back injury. No surgery, but you just still imagine it'll be a few weeks. So I sort of look at that and I'm like, yeah, but they're like, I just think if you're John Stones, look, he had a great World Cup. I do think there's big doubts over whether he can play, especially if you go to a club like Arsenal in the Champions League, 2-3 games a week sometimes. I don't think Stones can do that.
Would he have to, though? That's my point. Would he have to?
Well, I don't know, but
it kind of. Do you know what? A lot of it depends on how much football John Stones actually wants to play, doesn't it? Does he still want to be part of a club like Arsenal that is going to be trying to win as many trophies as possible, or does he maybe look at it and think, "No, I want to play a bit more football," and maybe he joins a team potentially a bit lower down the league, or potentially a Chelsea, where, let's be honest, he surely would start every week for Chelsea, given the other options they've got.
But can his body do it? That's the question. Sure. Can he stay fit to? I mean, the thing with City and Arsenal, we don't really think about this, but they've been like rivals for the last 4 years. I don't see him just slipping out of City and going to Arsenal. I think that would do something to his City legacy. If I'm John Stones, I'm going abroad. I think he'd go abroad. You could imagine him going to Italy, maybe to Germany, reunite with Vincent Kompany, Bayern Munich. I'd be surprised if he stays in the Premier League, to be honest with you. I'd be quite surprised if he does that.
Yeah.
He's not old, is he? What is he, 32? He's not old, but
32.
It feels like the last couple of years he hasn't been able to stay on the pitch enough. I
still think that'd be a cracking signing for Chelsea if they got him over the line. I just think with what he would bring.
We're talking about Lacroix bringing Chelsea experience because they refused to buy anyone over the age of 22. They've stretched it a bit for Lacroix. I don't think Chelsea are suddenly going to start buying.
They were in for Xhaka though, and Sunderland shut the door.
I think that's completely led by Xabi Alonso. I think that's Xabi Alonso saying, "Listen, this guy came in and we won big things in Germany together." And we were talking about their starting lineup earlier. Who does partner Caicedo in midfield if we're to assume that Enzo Fernandez would leave? I can't see Stones going to Arsenal or Chelsea. They're rivals of Manchester City. It would just feel weird. It would be like an Arsenal player just going to Liverpool.
Yeah.
After what, 8 years at City?
Yeah. Well, Raheem Sterling ended up at Chelsea, didn't he? After a bit of time, it didn't go well. But I'm just saying. Yeah. So you never know, really. I just think you're a bit worried about John Stones joining Chelsea. I think I'm spooking you with this Chelsea thing a bit. Honestly, Jacob, your face when Simon brought up John Stones. It was a picture. It was the same face you made when I said you have to wear a tie on wedding day.
It's because he's a winner. Do you know what I mean? And when we were going through that squad earlier, I was like, "There's no one there who's won anything." And then you say John Stones, it's like, "Oh yeah, no, he's won stuff. He could." I don't know. I'd be very surprised if it happens.
Yeah. Do you know what I bet he did? I bet he wore a tie on his wedding day. John Stones, big time.
I've been told in the
class. He's class on the grass. He's class off the pitch.
I've been told in the past I look like John Stones.
Have you?
Okay. Okay.
From a man who usually gets Lloyd Griffith, comedian. Do you know Lloyd?
He's a mate of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually get him.
I think that's.
Do you know what? I can see John Stones. To be fair,
Can you?
Yeah. From Timu, but yeah, it's there.
I'll be texting Lloyd later.
By the way, you said Stones is the winner. 6 league titles, 3 FA Cups, 3 League Cups, 1 Champions League, 1 Super Cup, 1 Club World Cup, and a couple of Community Shields. But interestingly, he hasn't made more than 25 appearances in the last 9 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Maybe he is used to being that kind of player anyway, like that is used to not starting every single week. I just think for any of those clubs, it'd be a really good addition.
I really think for Chelsea it would make a lot of sense, especially when you consider Reece James. He's another one who over the last couple of years, you can't depend on him to start more than 25 games in the Premier League season. So it's almost you could get the two of them to essentially share a role in that back line for Manchester City, especially if James is going to play inside a little bit. I don't see him joining one of City's rivals. It's a funny thing with Manchester City because and I don't want to do the sort of tired old, they've got no fans, not a proper club, but they're a new club, right? I think it's fair to say that if they're new to being as big a club as they are. And I think Stones is fair to say is one of their legends. I think it's fair to say
easily.
He's a proper City legend, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe more so than Sterling was. I don't think he goes to a rival club in the Premier League.
Yeah, fair enough. By the way, live boxing returns to the talkSPORT network this Saturday as Anthony Joshua faces Christian Prenga in a warm-up for the huge Tyson Fury clash later this year. Our team will be on the ground in Jeddah. We'll bring you all the latest from a very busy fight week. And don't forget, you can watch along with us from ringside on the night of the fight. Anthony Joshua against Christian Prenga this Saturday from 7 o'clock on talkSPORT, the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, and on your smart TV as well. This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT.
Jack Grealish.
Yep.
Also going to be back at Man City.
Yep.
Next season.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Jack if he's given a chance by Maresca, because he would have been part of that Man City squad that Maresca was at. Or will the manager think, no? And will Jack think, you know what, maybe I want to move on? I think it's still early doors. I think we have to see what happens over the next 6 weeks. You know, still 6 weeks left of the transfer window. Start of September, it closes. I don't see him staying there. I see him moving on. It wouldn't surprise me if he moves somewhere else in Europe. I don't see him staying in the Premier League. So I think he's still got 1 year left, I think, of his contract. So the wages as well, will that be a problem for some of the clubs, maybe in the Premier League? But don't rule out maybe back to Everton. David Moyes loved him.
Yeah, he did well there.
Yeah, he done very well there.
Did well there. Okay, interesting. And then, of course, Rodri, reportedly waiting for Real Madrid president Florentino Perez to sanction his return to Spain. And then there's growing support for the move in the capital after he skippered them to the World Cup. Of course, as well, he's linked to Real Madrid. Do you see that one getting done?
It depends, because I did see that from Perez saying that it's not something that they want to do. And I don't think Manchester City are going to let him go on the cheap. I think before the World Cup, they maybe would have negotiated a deal. But his performances in the World Cup was the Rodri that won the Ballon d'Or a couple of seasons ago. That Rodri I wouldn't sell for anything less than 80, 90, 100 million if I'm Manchester City. He's that good. And he's one of them players, Rodri, Shaban, that will play deep into his 30s. You know, doesn't rely on pace. Very good technically on the ball.
This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Jacob Hawley. We're going to come on to some texts. The texts are flooding in, both on the My Extreme Burger situation and also whether Jacob should wear a tie for his wedding day.
Yeah.
And there are some strong opinions.
Yeah, I thought there might be. When you teed that up, I was like, great, I'm looking forward to this.
Honestly, strong opinions on the way for you. Before we do that, though, let's get an update from the PDC World Match Play Darts with Chris Murphy.
And you join me with Dirk van Duijvenbode at match point here, throwing at tops to win the match. Misses one just above it. Steps back against Gary Anderson, who is launching an incredible comeback attempt here. And van Duijvenbode has missed 2 match darts. Now, he led this match 14-6 in a race to 16. Since then, Gary Anderson has won 7 of the next 8 legs, averaging 114 in the process. And Dirk van Duijvenbode has been faltering. Those match darts you just heard were the first 2 he's had. He's about to get 3 more at double 10, but at the moment he's all at 6s and 7s. Stay with me for a second. He steps back to the hockey, trying to put an end to this, and you feel that if he doesn't get it done now, he won't get it done. He has got it done. Gary Anderson is knocked out in the quarterfinals. Dirk van Duijvenbode fends off that fight back and can now breathe a huge sigh of relief. Luke Littler takes on Josh Rock next. Live commentary on talkSPORT 2.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. You know that fellow who's just won, he's an aubergine farmer.
He's a what?
He's an aubergine farmer.
Is that euphemism? What are you talking about?
No, genuinely. He's the only one.
He's a what? Say it one more time, please. He's an aubergine farmer.
He's an aubergine farmer.
I've never heard that one.
No.
It's something they used to say at your school, is it?
Is he the only person who can use that emoji, like, seriously?
What do you mean?
Just like when he sends loads of aubergines.
His wife messages, "What's for dinner tonight, darling?" He can send that and he doesn't get in trouble. Is that what he does?
She's like, that's his 9 to 5.
There we go. Massacre again, I guess.
Oh, I wish I'd got that in Greece, mate. That would have been a better option than my burger situation. I had a brilliant text here from Quinn, who's a Villa fan.
Yeah.
And I'm so on your side here, Quinn. He was talking about my extreme cheeseburger that came without a burger, by the way, in Heraklion Airport yesterday. I'm absolutely devastated with goodies. 1.6 stars, by the way, on Trustpilot. Trustpilot? No. TripAdvisor, that's one. Yeah, Trustpilot. Like, Trustpilot's like trading.
Trustpilot for goodies. Can I trust this place? I mean, you can't, to be fair.
No, you can't. You can't trust it. Quinn says the extreme is the size of the burger. I feel like Quinn might have been before, if he knows that.
Yeah, it sounds so.
Quinn might have been.
Quinn might work for goodies.
Quinn, let us know. Do you work for goodies? The extreme is the size of the burger, and you were mugged off as it should have a burger in it.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
So you when you knew there was no patty, you were at least expecting some extreme cheese. The extreme would have been the burger. You probably missed out.
Oh, I see what he means. Oh, yes. So I was thinking extreme. Was the description of the cheese.
You ordered an extreme burger with cheese.
Yeah, I did.
And it would have had like 3.
And what I was expecting was extreme cheese, and actually it was just mild cheese and loads of mustard. Yeah. And no burger. It was brilliant. Do you know what? I'm bit. I didn't take it back. Is that silly? Because 2 reasons. One, the bites I took were massive.
You were embarrassed.
And I was like, I can't eat half the burger.
You'll be like Scooby-Doo chomp marks in it. It's like Looney Tunes.
There's no burger. Raggy, row. So I was too embarrassed to take it back, and the queue was massive, and I was like, I can't just stand there with half a burger waiting to take it back.
Like a lemon.
Talking of looking like a lemon, you said you weren't going to wear a tie for your wedding.
Yeah.
Which is, when is it? Next?
2nd of August, week on Sunday.
Did you do the invites by post or email? Because I didn't. Was it email?
Dear me.
It's Ollie with a Y. I don't know if it came through. Jacob, it says here from Dan. I love this, Dan. At least wear a tie for the ceremony and photos. You'll be glad you did when you look back at them in years to come. You can always loosen or remove it for the reception.
Do you know what? I might do that.
I think that's a great shout. I'll say one thing. Loosen it. Nah. I think you either have the tie on.
It's got to come off.
It comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes off. Take it off for your groom speech, I think.
But I'm looking for a very specific kind of collar that stays up high. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Like Peaky Blinders?
Not quite Peaky Blinders, but like rigid. I don't want to just fall in all over the shop like a school shirt.
No.
I want it up. Does that make sense?
But is your shirt linen?
Well, I haven't bought it yet. This is the thing.
Oh, well, it's lucky we had this chat there, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm going Saturday to try and get one.
Are you?
Yeah.
This is all, by the way, deflection, so we don't have to talk about Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah.
It's the Jacobs Arsenal. So what? So you're going to pick one
Saturday. Yeah.
So you can't go linen then.
I don't want linen. I want stiff. I want
stiff collar.
Do you know what I want to look like
in that heat?
Do you know what I want to look like? Have you watched The Business recently?
Yeah.
Tamer Hussain.
Yeah.
The Playboy. That's what I want to look like. That's what I want to look like.
Yeah. Have we convinced you tonight?
What?
To wear a tie?
He doesn't wear a tie.
Oh, no. Yeah, I forgot that. We had a text here as well. Southgate never wore a tie. Did wear a waistcoat, though. I don't think that's true. I think Southgate definitely wore a tie. It was like red, white and blue.
I can picture him tie and waistcoat.
Yeah.
The waistcoat was a real... Like, that was a big thing. Summer 2018.
Oh, yeah.
My pal of mine created a Twitter account called Gareth Southgate's Waistcoat. He amassed 200,000 followers.
No way.
Sold the account. £300.
Wow.
So there you
what
go.
did he do with that £300? He bought a suit.
He bought a waistcoat.
Do you know what? I happened to buy a suit that summer.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know, wedding or something like that. And I got hooked in the waistcoat fever. My waistcoat arrived the day we got knocked out. Yes.
You've had some curses in your time, haven't you? Yeah.
Or do I just moan too much?
Well,
Is that
maybe.
basically it?
Everyone has bad luck. They just don't go on the radio about it.
By the way, we were having a bit of a chat a bit earlier about best pound for pound signing. The reason we were doing that is today is the anniversary of Arsenal, your Arsenal, bidding for Luis Suarez, and they bid 40 million and £1.
The pound.
The pound.
Bring forth the pound.
Didn't work out, obviously.
Yeah.
We've had some really good shouts, by the way. Aaron here is a Manchester United fan. Peter Schmeichel from Brombury to Manchester United, 505 grand. In 1991, got to be one of the best values for money ever.
And what's the inflation?
I don't know, mate.
Do you know what I mean? Like that. Because you think about you mentioned the Luis Suarez one. What was that? 2014 was it?
Yeah.
Well,
was it 2013?
Is around then.
Around then, yeah.
About 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 40 million now. Luis Suarez was the best player in the league.
Yeah.
That's 120 now.
Newcastle have signed a couple of 20-year-olds for 40 million. This
There
summer.
you go.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah. That's very true. So, Aaron, if you could work out the inflation there, and not that we're asking you to do too much.
Text again, please, mate. Try again.
Jonesy, the West Ham fan, says Payet for 12 million.
Yeah. Do you know what? And he was like an iconic player at West Ham.
That free kick. I think
I know exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
It's the most aesthetically pleasing goal ever, I think.
Yeah.
The way it lands in that top corner is ridiculous. There's another one here, and this is a good shout. Samuel, who's a Liverpool fan, says Liverpool's best pound-for-pound signing is from 3. Philippe Coutinho cost 8 million.
Wow.
And gave us some great moments and sold for 146. That's incredible.
And then you could make the argument that his money bought Alisson and Van Dijk, who went on to win them.
Yeah.
So
Coutinho, they haven't spent it yet.
It was £8 million that won them the title. When you think about it like that.
Amazing. Andy Robertson, 6 million from Hull.
Yeah.
That's a good shout. And James Milner cost absolutely nothing and won everything and is a Liverpool legend. That's a good shout there from Sam.
How much was Milner?
Nothing.
Oh, he's free.
Yeah, amazing. Who's Arsenal's for you, would you say?
Oh, do you know what? I'm thinking about the current squad, and he's obviously just departed. I think Trossard is right up there. Just over 20 million quid. If you look at his numbers over the last 3 years, I tell you what, people talk about Bukayo Saka. Trossard's numbers are basically the same.
Wow.
Like, he's honestly, the goals, the assists, and, you know, we got a bit of money back for him, despite the fact he's 32. I think Trossard is, he's criminally underrated by Arsenal fans and other fans in the Premier League. I think he's bang up there. Do you know the other one who is a bit of he's sort of out of favour now, but Martinelli was only 7 million quid.
That is, for what you've got from him, and I know what you mean, he's not been the most consistent.
The last couple of years have been worse,
Fine.
but then a couple of years ago,
7 million though.
7 million, and that's we've got 7-8 years worth of service out of him. I think if you were to shift Martinelli now, you'd hope to get 50-60 million quid for him. I think that is right up there, and that's it. You know, I think he came from the Brazilian second league or something. You don't see that anymore. You don't see top clubs doing that anymore. So I think that's a great transfer.
Tell you who's up there for Arsenal, and actually Marco on the buttons has just had this shout, big Arsenal fan. Fabregas, 700 grand.
But that's
Is that because of youth?
it's half cheating because it's like an academy sign.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Who would you have for Newcastle?
I've got 3 shouts. They're all quite recent as well, and I'm sure that there's plenty going back. But my ones have got to be Kieran Trippier, firstly, around 12 million for him, and what he delivered for the club, and being that statement signing, and the one where the Stars then followed. Obviously, they've all gone now, but Kieran Trippier's up there. Dan Burn, 13 million for what he's achieved at the club. For what he's achieved, scoring the goal in the League Cup final, getting them to the Champions League twice, 13 million for Dan Burn. Fabian Schär, mate. 3 million. 3 million under Rafa Benitez. What a star.
We were talking earlier about Newcastle. We were saying 12 months ago it was going so well. And when did Trippier leave?
Yeah, it was the end of last season.
I guess the point I'm making is he was a big personality around the club, around the training ground. Do you think maybe, and that was one where Newcastle fans ready to move on, do you think maybe that was something that was underestimated?
What, in terms of the other stars leaving?
Well, not necessarily that people would have stayed if Trippier were there, but do you think the team lost something more than just his contribution on the pitch when Trippier left there? Because I look at Newcastle now, and you still got leaders. Bruno's there. I sort of considered, what I'm trying to say. Joelinton's there. Do you think is that something that was around that dressing room and kept them?
I think we'll miss his leadership, but I don't think him leaving is the reason why those other stars have moved on. I think the real first domino was Isak going. I think that just opened the floodgates, and I was kind of expecting a few more stars, if you will, leave this summer. And the issue is, once one goes, you're then in a bit of trouble because all of the rest of them will have their heads turned, and now we end up in this situation where Bruno Guimaraes is there going, well, where is everyone? Where are all these players? And I would obviously be devastated if he goes. It's hard to say, but can you begrudge him it? Not massively. You just can't with what's going on at the club at the moment, which is very, very difficult. Tell Wedding Guy, by the way, this is from Rich in Melton Mowbray.
Wedding Guy, nice, Rich.
Vivian Westwood, they do high-collared shirts that stay high. You got the cash for Westwood?
I don't know. How much is a Vivian Westwood shirt?
Yeah, less than the fee for this.
I don't know about that. I don't know what you're getting paid, mate.
Even buy a burger, mate. This is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. We'll do a whip round of all the big stories from the day in just a moment.
I rate Aston Villa. I know the size and the history of the club. They're a big, passionate support. This is bonkers because I rate Emery as well. I have no idea what anyone at Aston Villa have seen in Alejandro Garnacho to think that he is perhaps a solution. I just don't understand it.
Talk to me about the player.
He's a reprehensible character. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing.
What was that word again?
Reprehensible, horrible, objectionable. I mean,
Google.
Hateful. There's very little to like about him. I think that he's a man who's in it for himself. I've seen nothing to suggest that he's a player that he believes he is.
He's 22.
It doesn't matter.
Both of you chill out. You're grown men. Hammering this poor lad.
He's not 16.
Poor lad.
No, but he's 22, and I get it. He's got all the riches in the world.
5 years at 22.
But I think it is overkill. He is
It's
a
not
good
overkill.
player.
No, it's underkill.
He's a good player.
I'm not intelligent
He's
enough.
in the Premier League for a reason.
I'm not intelligent enough
He's
or
been
articulate enough
considered by
to
Villa
do
for a reason.
justice
He's
to
been your
how
club for a
objectionable this
reason.
bloke is.
Can you ignore her?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Can you finish?
I am trying, yeah.
Talk amongst yourself.
Okay, to any Villa fans, to any season ticket holder in that whole end, I tell you this is an error, a mistake, something that will haunt you. And it's a terrible, terrible statement for Aston Villa. He will disrupt your dressing room. He is not the player that people think he is. Do you know the kind of player that he is, really? He should be running the wing at Cadiz. That's the level of footballer that he is. He should be running the wing at Iber, at best. This belief that he is somehow a fantastic talent that just needs the right manager to unlock him. He is a million miles away from that. He's really destructive to a dressing room.
This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I'm Ollie Clink. Alongside me is Jacob Hawley. This is your whistle-stop tour of the biggest transfer news of the day. And there are two huge stories. The first is that Arsenal are set to make a £70 million bid for Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes. It's turning into a bit of a saga, this one. Earlier on the show, Northern football correspondent for The Eye, Mark Douglas, discussed the latest on that potential move to Arsenal and what it might take to prize him out of Newcastle.
Well, I mean, we've been down this road before at Newcastle United, where, you know, the message from the club is very much, you know, they don't want to sell. There's no interest in selling, and we'll see really in the next few weeks what happens. At the moment, I know that if it was a £70 million bid, it will get knocked back. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Newcastle are talking more around the kind of 80 million, 85 million mark, and obviously still don't want to sell him even off the back of that as well. But we know how these things go. The player obviously does want to kind of talk to Arsenal. I think he probably would want to go to Arsenal if he had the opportunity. And it's just whether this is a kind of initial sort of shot, a kind of warning shot across the bows for Newcastle, and maybe it encourages Bruno to kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say necessarily do what Isak did last summer, but will he kind of, you know, is he going to be back for pre-season next week? It's a question I think is valid to ask. I mean, at the moment, we're being told that, you know, he's assuring people that he will come back, but we will see. We were here last summer, and obviously with Isak, it was a very difficult and very drawn out saga, and obviously he did end up getting the move. Newcastle ended up getting a very good price for him as well. But at the moment, you know, that £70 million bid will not be successful, but I'm not sure Arsenal necessarily think it will be successful. And it could just be the start of the kind of the saga and where we're kind of going on with things. So yeah, disappointing for Newcastle. I think that they could potentially lose another player, but at the moment, a lot of road left to kind of go in this one.
Yeah, feeling very concerned and a bit devastated as a Newcastle fan, because it's starting to feel, Jacob, isn't it, as if it's when and not if in a number of ways. But Mark said there, obviously it feels as if Newcastle are going to push back on that 70 million bid, which makes a lot of sense given how much Bruno is worth for them. As an Arsenal fan, how high do you feel that Arsenal should go to try and prize him away?
I have to be honest. I think this could be the best player that moves from club to club in the Premier League this summer. I do. I think he's a better player than Morgan Rogers. I think he's a top footballer. I think, you know, you see with Rogers. Rogers is first or second off the bench for England. This guy starts every single game for Brazil. I think he's one of the top 5 centre midfielders in the Premier League. I'd go a step further. I think he's a better player than Elliot Anderson. And I think the only reason that Arsenal think that they can go in with an offer like £70 million is because he's going to turn 29 in the autumn. You're still going to get 3 years of a brilliant footballer. If Arsenal
But they're not getting him for 70 million.
They're not going to get him for 70 million. I think if Arsenal go for something like, I don't know, like 75 plus 10 in add-ons, and bear in mind, you know, add-ons are usually related to if we qualify for Europe, if we win a Premier League, which Arsenal do. So you'll get your add-ons. I think that will do it. I think it'll be something like that. 75 rising to 80 something. I think it'll be something like that. And the thing is, Arsenal are hunting for a forward this summer, right? And every forward you look at, and it's a bad market this year. Every forward you look at, there's some kind of concession. You go, oh, well, if we went for Rodgers, we'd play him left wing. He's not really a left winger, but whatever. Maybe you go for Julian Alvarez. Maybe could you play him as a 9? I don't know. You get this guy from France. He's good, but could he adapt to the Premier League? With Bruno, you just go, he's going to play in central midfield with Declan Rice, where he plays as he usually does. He's ready to go. Match day 1. He'll play in the Community Shield. Done. Spend your money, get your guy, plug and play. Perfect.
Do you feel, though, that central midfield is the priority for Arsenal? Surely it is. I know what you're saying about the market, to be fair, and I think you are right that, you know, especially as some of the other players have already moved, but you're looking at the likes of, you know, maybe Yohan Diomande looks like an excellent player, but demanding huge money and a huge...
He's 19.
He's 19.
Ollie.
He's unproven. So I do get what you're saying, but at the same time, is it not further up the pitch that Arsenal need to focus on?
But I think just because we're doing this one first doesn't mean we're not focusing on the other end of the pitch. Just because they might do this transfer first doesn't mean that they're not targeting other things. I mean, I think the first transfer we did last summer was Noni Madueke, right? I don't think that's because Arsenal finished last season and went, I need Noni Madueke.
Yeah. And then it was Norgard and it was Kepa and everyone was saying, what an underwhelming
Yeah.
Then they started.
Then Gyökeres, then Eze, yeah. So I don't doubt they'll add a forward as well, maybe 2. Look, we've spent the last 5 weeks following England at a World Cup. Every single day, there's a different update. Declan Rice has got how are they describing it? Neural pain. Yeah. He's got ice on his hamstring. Now it's his back. Actually, his calf hurts. Now he played 70 football matches last season.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Arsenal have learnt their lesson from players like Ødegaard, Saka, Havertz, who, let's be honest, they've broken over the last 2 or 3 years.
This is why maybe it is one of the priorities, if not the priority, because you have to deal with Declan Rice being out that side. You have to deal with the fact that he is going to need a rest, or he is going to be injured at points during this season.
If I said to an Arsenal fan now, right, there's one scenario where by the time Declan Rice is 29-30, he's knackered, he's broken, we've ruined him. Or you spend 80 million quid, you get a world-class midfielder, in my opinion, and you get Declan Rice till he's 34, you're all spending that 80 million quid. I also think, if we're really honest with ourselves, Zubimendi started the season great. By the end of the season, Miles Lewis-Skelly took his place. Miles is 19. I do think they're going to sell Norgard, and they're going to need a body in there. So I think you're going to need a midfielder anyway. Look, this guy, as I say, he comes in, plug and play. You've got a great player in there straight away. Eases the load on Declan Rice. And Ollie, you've watched Bruno a lot over the last few years. People think he's just a rough, run around, kick you around the ankles midfielder. This is a really creative player. This makes Arsenal forwards better.
Yeah, very creative player. I think he's very underrated in that area. And we saw that at the World Cup too, with the amount of assists that he was getting. He's also added goals to his game, Bruno. The interesting thing about Newcastle selling here, potentially, it's obviously something they don't want to do. But what's different about this one is, I think before they were thinking about the PSR restrictions and thinking, right, we do need to eventually sell some of these players. We do need to start being a selling club. They don't find themselves in that position now because of the amount of players that they sold. And actually, we can all sit here and we can go, wow, they're losing all their stars. They're losing all their talent. It could be a very rough season. We'll come on to that in just a moment. But they have actually demanded big fees. Isak was literally on strike, not playing. His future was away from the club as far as he was concerned. They still got 130 million. 70 million for Anthony Gordon. It's good business.
It's a really good bit of business.
Given the season that he had just had. 100 million for Sandro Tonali. 100 million. I know we're in this inflated market now. He's a good player, but 100 million is good business. Do you not think that should worry you a bit as an Arsenal fan, that Newcastle potentially could have your pants down because they can just continue holding out and continue holding out?
I think there's already been a rumour that Arsenal would potentially look at Alex Scott at Bournemouth, move on, if it gets ridiculous. I mean, look, you mentioned there 100 million quid for Tonali, but I think that the way that deal's structured is it's 90 up front and 10 in add-ons. I guess my point being, if you say to me it's going to be 85 million quid for Bruno, I go, oh, it's a lot. If it's 75 plus 10, do you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There's ways that these things feel palatable. It's not my money at the end of the day, right? Yeah. I just want to see Bruno play for Arsenal. I think he's. I know. I'm really sorry, and I know you've had some bad luck over the last few days. But he's look. I think they have to get a deal done, and I do think there might be a part of them where they've just been stung by the Morgan Rogers thing. There might be a part of Arsenal where they sort of go, do you know what? For 5 million quid, we can't do it again. We cannot do it again because I sense the mood, whether it's social media or in my group chats among Arsenal fans after the Rogers thing. People who didn't want Morgan Rogers were still angry. If the same,
it's not a good look, is it? It's not a good look, especially as you're the champions.
It's not a good look. I think with that one, that fee was so ridiculous. I think 117 million pounds. He's a brilliant player, Morgan Rogers, but 117 is crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't go to 80, 85 for Bruno, come on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we look at it from that Newcastle perspective, then it does start to look very worrying, especially when you look at that midfield area, because you've lost Tonali, and if you lost Guimaraes as well, these would be the first team midfielders. Willock, who's been linked with a move to Turkey. Lewis Miley, a very good player, by the way. Jacob Ramsey, who again I do rate, but Miley, Ramsey, Sean Sturr, who they've just brought in from Ajax, 18 years old, Joel Linton, and Bamba, who's just come through the door, 20 years old, 25 games for Monaco last season. That's a bit worrying, Jacob.
Yeah.
That is very worrying. And look, there's a part of me that doesn't really mind. In fact, I'm quite glad that Newcastle have been going out and looking for potential and looking to find these gems. And they have had a bit of a shift with their transfer policy because they missed out on so many targets last season when they were trying to go for players with Premier League proven quality. They kept missing out, so instead it seems like they fired up the scouting network and tried to find value where they can. That's great. But they need some ready-made players, especially in the centre of the park, because that is looking very, very thin. There's still a bit of time left in this window, but this is why they should be very worried about losing Bruno Guimaraes, because suddenly they are absolutely decimated, not just further up the field, but especially in that midfield area. And when you think about how important the midfield is for Newcastle generally anyway, you know, it's absolutely key to the way that Eddie Howe sets up his team, in both in defence and attack.
I think if they do lose Bruno, they have to look at what Sunderland did last summer, bringing in a player like Xhaka, Premier League experience, European quality, international quality. If you have to go for a slightly older player, someone maybe 30 or older, you just have to do it. Because I think you're right, that it's probably the right thing for them to be doing now, spending 30, 40 million quid, going for prospects, do your scouting, great. Try and do what a Brentford or a Bournemouth would do. Let's be honest, you could be in a relegation scrap if you lose Bruno. And it's a player like Xhaka who is the difference.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, that you need someone like that who could come in and steady your ship a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got, when you look at it, not too much time to try and figure that out, especially if, like you're saying, Arsenal get Bruno Guimaraes through the door ready for that Community Shield. I think it's going to take a bit longer than that. Could even happen after the season starts. But still, it does seem to be rumbling on. And the fact that Arsenal are in there making bids is never a good sign, as I found out last summer with Alexander Isak. This is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT. Good evening, this is Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly, Clink. It's the quarterfinals of the PDC Darts World Championship. It's live on talkSPORT 2 from Blackpool. Ian Danter is watching for talkSPORT.
Well, we just saw a thriller in the first quarter-final where Dirk van Duijvenbode, as you heard from Chris Murphy 20 minutes or so ago, finally got the job done to see off Gary Anderson 16-14. And in this second quarter-final, Luke Littler has never lost to Josh Rock in 9 previous meetings, the first of which was in last year's semi-final where Luke hit a 9-darter. He got 6 darts into a 9-darter in this first session, did Luke, but he only leads 3-2. It's all going with throw at the start of this quarter-final. Littler averaging 110, Rock not far behind on 105. It's a race to 16 to see who will face Van Duijvenbode, the Ober genius, in the semi-finals. And all the action, Ollie, is live right now on your home of darts on the radio. That's talkSPORT 2.
This is the Transfer Insiders here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Jacob Hawley. Right, let's head from north to west London with news that Chelsea are in talks with Crystal Palace centre-back Maxence Lacroix. Our transfer guru Ben Jacobs joined us earlier to discuss their pursuit.
Yeah, my understanding is this deal is really close now and again has partly involved owners on both sides as well. It's expected to be north of the £52 million that saw Jan-Paul van Hecke move from Brighton to Spurs. The reason why I mention that is because it was a high fee for a player that only had 1 year left on his contract, and Max Lacroix has got 3 years left on his deal. So Palace are well within their rights to be seeking more than that particular transfer, and some of this has been down to, can Palace find another centre-back? In addition, can they get the valuation that they are looking for in an inflated market? And we can now say that all things are starting to move on this particular deal. In particular, Crystal Palace are in talks to sign Chris Lane Matsima, who plays as a centre-back at the moment for Augsburg, and that, according to my information, will fully unlock this Max Lacroix deal. But regardless of that particular transfer, the clubs have got really close now to agreeing a package anyway. And in those talks, Chelsea have offered Axel Disasi to Crystal Palace too. They value the player at £25 million plus add-ons, but at this stage, I'm told that Palace have got other targets in mind.
Jacob, Maxence Lacroix, 26-year-old, FA Cup winner with Crystal Palace, France international. Do you feel this is a good move from Chelsea?
I think what would make me feel good if I was a Chelsea fan is very much a Xabi Alonso move. When he took the job, we understood it's like he's come in, he wants control of who comes in and out, he wants to build his own squad. And I think the fact that Lacroix likes to play in the middle of a back three, and it seems as though that's very much what Xabi Alonso wants to do. Slightly more experienced player than we're used to seeing going to Chelsea in the last few years. That for me, if there's one thing I wanted to see in the transfer window if I was a Chelsea fan, it'd be that it's Xabi Alonso rather than Bluco choosing who's coming in, and this feels like one of those.
Yeah, definitely. I think you saw that earlier in the window, even when they were linked with Granit Xhaka. I know that move doesn't look like it's going to go through, but you suddenly thought, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. They're finally looking at players over the age of, 16? And they're finally changing that policy. And it's funny, because after Liam Rossini got sacked, Bluco did come out and said, look, we're going to have a period of reflection. We're actually going to think about what we're doing in the transfer market. We're going to think about the managerial hires you made. And I don't know, I kind of looked at that with a lot of scepticism, and I'm assuming a lot of Chelsea fans did too. But it is looking in this window. There's the other factor that Xabi Alonso is the manager, not the head coach. It does feel like he's having a bit more of a say. Look, I think the policy was that they wouldn't sign players over the age of 24. 26 isn't a massive jump, but at the same time, that is a player with a lot of Premier League experience. And like you say, will fit into a back three, which suits the way Alonso plays too.
Yeah, and you start looking at that Chelsea 11 now, and you go, Lacroix, good player. Palestra's going to come in. Obviously, Reece James still there. Caicedo in midfield. We're not sure what's going to happen with Enzo, but you'd imagine if he does go, they'd replace him with another midfielder. Palmer and Rodgers behind a striker.
Looking at goalkeepers too. Are you starting to worry as an Arsenal fan about this? Seriously?
You're trying to make me nervous?
Yeah.
Do you know what?
No European football, by the way.
That's what I was going to say. That's
league winner in Xabi Alonso.
And he's
invincible even.
He went to Germany and he did incredible things. I mean, I think that one game a week thing is massive. You saw it with Carrick United this season. It is massive. It makes a huge difference. I think they're a dead cert for Champions League. I really do. I think they're a dead cert. I mean, look.
Are they involved in the title race?
I just think if you look at what Arsenal have, what Manchester City have, what Liverpool have in terms of world-class players, I don't know if Chelsea quite have the quality of those other three teams.
How many world-class players do you think Chelsea have right now? Cole Palmer world-class?
He's not for me.
Really?
My definition of world-class is one of the top three players in the world in that position.
Okay.
I don't think Cole Palmer's world-class.
So how many do Arsenal have?
I think William Saliba's world-class. I think David Raya's world-class. And I think Declan Rice is world-class.
Three in the world?
Which one would you...
Declan Rice?
I think so.
Really?
I think he gets into every team in the world.
Okay.
I think those... would you disagree?
To be fair, I'm not sure on Rice, but he's not far away, I would say. So I do know what you're trying to say. Cole Palmer at the top of his game is up there.
We haven't seen
but we haven't seen that for a while.
18 months, Olly.
City
still got Haaland, still got Rodri, still got Vardiol. Liverpool, if Isak and Ekitike can get fit, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of quality in those other three teams. As good as Chelsea have been, Chelsea finished 10th last year.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. Because they
hired Liam Rosenior.
But
That's the reason.
it wasn't just Liam Rosenior. They started to see... No, it wasn't just Liam... They weren't going to finish 4th and then Rosenior tanked it, were they?
No, but they weren't going to finish 10th. And then he tanked it.
I think the players... I think there is a bit of players. I don't think there's that much...
better manager, though, isn't it? It's a much better manager.
It's a much better manager. I think it's... In terms of manager acquisitions... I think they've done as well as anyone has. To be able to be the 10th placed team in the Premier League and go and grab Xabi Alonso under the noses of Liverpool, I think it's incredible.
Elsewhere today, by the way, Jacob, Elliot Anderson's move to Man City was completed, announced. He was speaking to the club, etc. 116 million on a 5-year deal. Do you think he's going to be a success at Man City? Because I think there are a few people looking at this with a few sceptical eyes, because they're there going, well, he's gone from not really getting in the team at Newcastle. He's moved on to Forest, done brilliantly well. That is a big, big price tag. And we know it's an inflated market, etc. But he's potentially coming in as the Rodri replacement. Does he sink or swim?
I think if he plays alongside Rodri, I think he'll be great. If he's a Rodri replacement, I think you just have to put it into the context of the fact that Rodri's one of the best midfielders in the world. He's one of the best players to ever play in that position. He's won a Ballon d'Or. He's just been awarded the best player at the World Cup. I think, Elliot Anderson or not, a Manchester City with Rodri are 10 points better than a Manchester City without Rodri, in my opinion, right? Elliot Anderson's a great player, but players as good as Rodri, you can't replace them. Like if Haaland were to leave, could they buy anyone that would be anything like Haaland? You can't do it.
No.
And Rodri's that good. So I think, look, Rodri's got a year left on his contract. I think they probably know which way the wind's blowing at Manchester City. This is a bit of succession planning. They clearly want another midfielder as well. They're looking at Bouadi. I think Elliot Anderson will be great at Manchester City, but he won't be Rodri.
No, that's very true. By the way, we'll keep you right up to date with all the latest moves on talkSPORT and talkSPORT.com. This has been Transfer Insiders. Remember, you can catch the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Acast, and wherever you get your podcasts. Jacob, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Been a delight.
Are you wearing a tie on your wedding day?
The jury's out.
Really?
The jury's out. I'm counting my pennies if I can afford a Vivian Westwood, as that text suggested, see if I can get down there, because they do look like some stiff collars. Some stiff collars.
You don't have to tell us, obviously, where it is, etc. I'm still waiting for that invite. I'm expecting it to come through at some point. It's Royal Mail. It's just a nightmare, isn't it? But, I mean, what have you got planned? Like, what's the bar situation looking like? Have we got So Good Lager? Or like, I say, wait, sorry, I'm not invited.
Do you know what? I actually found out what lager I've got today, and I was delighted. Delighted. I think this is a top tier lager.
Oh, go on.
I think this is actually, if you're going to have a light European continental lager, I've got Modelo's.
Ooh, nice.
That's nice.
They're in fashion.
They're in fashion, aren't they? Yeah. I spoke to the bar today. I was like, "What are you doing for bottled beer?" Modelo. Love.
Do you know what would be great as well? At 20 years' time, you look back at the pictures, and I know you as a dad, you'll turn to your kids and go, Modelo's. They were in fashion back then.
They were hot back
then. They were in fashion. So, tell you what else was in fashion. Wearing a tie at your wedding, mate. They will never go out of fashion, mate. You're in your stiff collar. Who's the fella you were trying to look like? What show was it?
The Business.
Oh.
I want to look like Tamer Hussain, the Playboy Charlie. I want to look like the Playboy.
Oh, have a lovely day, mate, if I don't see you. Coming up next here on talkSPORT, don't go anywhere. It's the Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Rory Jennings.
What do you make of the transfers? And also Maddison's back. You know, maybe Kulusevski coming back as well. You got some key players back as well.
I'm excited. I really am. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with the team. It looks like he's got some real kind of men in. You know, like with Tonali and Robertson, people who are going to, like leaders on the pitch. I think that's what we needed. You know, it seems to me like he's going for a type of side who are going to have some energy in the middle of the park. with a bit of experience and kind of like a